Welcome to the Dojo Talk Podcast. Please remove them shoes before entry.
The master is here, and you still have not taken off your shoes.
Yeah. Living every day to define man's mission. Looking to the sky for divine transmission. Deaf man's vision makes the blind man listen. Eyes on the prize, this is blind ambition. Thank you.
Welcome to another edition of the Dojo Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Sensei. We are on episode number 126. As always, you can listen to this podcast on SoundCloud, iTunes. If you're on iTunes, please rate, subscribe, and leave a review. You can listen on YouTube and Spotify as well as Google Play. You can follow us on social media at the Dojo Talk Podcast Facebook page and the Dojo Talk Podcast Instagram page. Send questions to dojotalkpodcast@yahoo.com, and you can follow me on Twitter at Sensei, and you can also follow me on Twitch, where I stream video games and fail, but I try my best. So you can follow me on there as well. That is all I have for plugs. So as always, I'm joined with my co-host, Takeru. What's going on, man?
I am sick.
Yeah.
It's that time of year.
Yes, that's that time of year. This is gonna be one of those episodes. Takeru is sick. I'm not sick. I'm just a little old and washed. Had a late night last night. I did not see any of these fights in real time, minus like 1.5. Had a good night, went out, hung out with some friends, ate some food, had a little crown, played some Mario Party, which I don't recommend. But it was a good time. But once again, I'm old, so I got home late. I think I'm running off about 4 hours of sleep. But I'm here, man. We're here. We're gonna try to survive and stay alive for this episode, and then I'll pass out and die after we're done recording.
Same.
Yeah, but for now, we're here. We're gonna make it through this episode. We'll give you guys a good show, and then we're both probably just gonna go pass out.
Yeah.
Actually, I might go play Resident Evil. Then I'll pass out. I don't know. But yeah. So that was pretty much how my weekend went. Actually, you know what? Real quick, I want to give our listeners at the end of like one of the episodes we did a couple of weeks ago, we had like a little health spiel we gave.
Right.
I want to add on to the health spiel because I've tried a new like diet adjustment that is I've seen results within like a week. So I'm just gonna share my little knowledge nuggets.
Is it essential oils?
Nah. What's weird is I actually did. I never used any, but I went through a phase where I was really looking them up a lot, and because I am one of those people where like I normally do get sick, and like that winter, like that transition from winter going into like spring, but I've been lucky this year. Like I've had like at most like a stuffy nose. I haven't gotten like super sick. Bless you.
Yeah.
That's
going to be a thing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry time if you're listening through headphones or whatever.
Yeah, that's fine. But my little health note, for the week. I'll leave this with the listeners. I've been trying to like make a conscious effort to reduce my carb intake, which for me is very hard because like all of the best things have carbs. Like I love cornbread, I love fries.
I love regular bread.
Yeah, I love cereal. Hence the name Cereal Sensei. That's not just a name.
See, I thought it was because you killed people.
No. But these are all things that are heavily loaded with carbs. So I've been making a conscious effort to like reduce my carb intake. More so like in the morning time, because I've noticed like, of course I normally just eat cereal in the morning. And anybody who eats cereal in the morning will tell you, like, you eat cereal and you're probably hungry, like, in the next 30 minutes to an hour. So I've been trying to eat, like, more, like, nutrient-dense foods in the morning, and it's actually helped a lot. So instead of eating cereal, like, I'll eat, like, eggs, a little side of veggies, and, like, some turkey bacon. and like I feel good. Like I don't get that hungry feeling again. And I've done this for about a week of like eliminating those carbs that I normally would eat early in the morning and replacing it with something that like actually has some health benefits. And like I feel good, my head's clear. I don't get like as hungry as I used to. I can go longer without feeling the need that I need to destroy a plate of food.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, like.
But that's also just like if you're eating less carbs, you're probably eating less gluten, and that's the stuff that makes you feel so bloated.
Right. Yeah. So it's all about just finding like replacements. Like I'll never fully like get rid of carbs because, like I said, it just to fully get rid of carbs mean I can never eat cornbread again. That's not gonna happen. But it's about finding just little ways to find replacements.
Right.
Just make little subtle changes and it'll eventually build into something. Like I said, I've literally only been doing this for about a week and I feel just a lot better. I feel much more alert. I have more energy. I don't get like that morning crash that I used to get. So
it's like oh wait, it's like you woke up and you're like, oh, this is how people are supposed to feel.
Right. Like I've been doing this for a week and now I look back like, what have I been doing for the last 28 years? 29 really of my life. You know, apparently I've been doing this wrong this entire time. But yeah, man, just reduce the carb intake. You'll feel. I'm not gonna push the keto thing because I know keto is heavy on like not eating carbs.
Yeah. Like I was looking at that before I just started counting calories to like lose weight. I was like, there's no way I can do this.
Yeah, I can't. I know a couple of people who do it. God bless their hearts. That's not for me. But part of that diet is definitely on point with just reducing the amount of carbs you eat, and just replace it with more like actual nutrient dense food that actually has like a benefit instead of you just eating something that's basically just like carbs and sugar. So yeah, that's the health note for today. Do with that what you will. So that's it for the morning spiel. Before we get started with the episode, as always, gotta give shout outs and always special thanks to the listeners, Tumblr folk, Twitter folk, wherever you are listening to this podcast. We always appreciate you. Top cities for the week. Number 1 was somehow Cairo, Egypt. Hello, guys. Number 2, Markham, Canada. Number 3, San Francisco, California. Number 4, Palhoca, Brazil. And number 5, Los Angeles, California. So, shout outs to all the listeners. You guys are awesome. No matter where you listen, make sure you share with a friend of a friend. If they like MMA or combat sports in general, or they just want to hear two people ramble for about 2 to 3 hours, just send them this way. Hopefully we'll have something good for them.
The world needs more white noise. I'm just saying.
There you go. you need something to get you through that work stretch. After you get off lunch and you're looking at the clock because those last 4 hours just won't seem to go by.
Yeah.
If you send them over here, we got you. We will carry you through those last few hours of that work day. We'll get you there and get you home. So yeah. Guess we will start, as always. We'll run through some news and notes. I'll make some brief mentions of a few cards. There actually were a pretty decent amount of fights that happened this weekend, but honestly didn't get a chance to watch much. But I'll give mentions of the little bit of what I saw. We'll pull our minds together for what we both watched this weekend, and then of course we'll get to Dos Santos versus Lewis. But first, starting with the news and notes for the week, and it actually was a pretty busy week, I would say, at least compared to last week in terms of fight announcements. A few good notable fights and other news nuggets going on in the MMA world, combat sports world in general. So starting from the top, probably one of the biggest fights that got announced, Jose Aldo and Alexander Volkanovski. That will be going down at UFC 237. Another big fight. This fight is not, the following fight I'm about to mention, is not, from what I saw, a done deal. But it's in the works. Valentina Shevchenko versus Jessica Eye. That fight is being targeted for UFC 238. But like I said, it's not a done deal. But it looks like that's going to happen. Just needs to be finalized. Alexander Gustafsson and Anthony Smith have verbally agreed to fight at UFC Stockholm in Sweden. Yoel Romero and Jacare Souza, they will be running it back at UFC Fort Lauderdale. And shout outs to Joey and Monte from Tumblr. We're going to have to come up with some kind of bet for this fight. When it got announced, Joey posted it, and he immediately tagged me in the post. And he said it's on. So for those who don't know, I pretty much always root for Jacare. He's one of my all-time favorites. And you know everybody loves Yoel. I love Yoel too, but like Jacare, he's my guy. So
this is what Jacare like to win. Just like, and I'm a Yoel Romero dude, but I want Jacare to win. So one, Yoel's like forced to go up to 205. It's because like Jacare just deserves it, you know.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. So you guys, if you're listening, bless you.
Thank you.
You guys, if you're listening, I'll think of some little bet. Maybe just like an 8, avatar bet. I don't know, something simple. Won't have to be anything crazy.
I mean, that's gonna be a main event, right? It's gonna be 5 rounds.
Think so.
Ooh, that messes up because Jacare at the end of that fight was just, oh god, sorry, just outworking him. So
we'll see. It's gonna be a fun one. So I'll try to think of a bet, something I can figure out, and I'll get back with you, gentlemen. Moving on down, Aspen Ladd and Sijara Eubanks. They will be rematching again at UFC Rochester. Lord, this next fight. I almost hesitated even writing this on my list, but it's a thing that's gonna happen, so I have to accept it. UFC 237, BJ Penn. Somebody called his phone for whatever reason. I don't know why in 2019 when like you need to fill up a card and they're like, oh, who haven't we got to fight. Let's call BJ and see what he's doing. I don't know why. I don't know. But BJ Penn is going to be at UFC 237 fighting Clay Guida. Have at it, old man. I don't know. I don't got nothing.
Clay Guida's going to beat the shit out of him.
He is.
Like Clay Guida's like I'm not gonna say as good as he's ever been, but he's as competent as he's ever been. And BJ Penn is not. BJ Penn gets tired after like 2 minutes of fighting.
I mean, best case scenario, Guida takes him down and gets this over with early, and we all go home before this gets out of hand.
Best case scenario is BJ Penn sprains his ankle in training camp and can't make the fight.
That is true. Yeah, that's the best case. Keep the cable cords ready, people. Throw him out, see if he's ready. But also on UFC 237, Thiago Alves will be back fighting Laureano Staropoli. Also have Alexei Olenek versus Walt Harris and Nordine Taleb versus Sire Bahadzerda. Both of those fights will be at UFC Ottawa, and the Marlon Chito Vera Frankie Saenz fight has been rescheduled for UFC Nashville. Moving down to Bellator, they have a few fight announcements. Jory Karakhanyan is stepping in on 2 weeks' notice to fight Manuel Sanchez for the headline for Bellator 218. Also on that card,
I just like to point out real quick, that's better than what they originally scheduled for that main event.
Yeah, what was the guy's name? Ashley
Grimshaw or something like that.
Yeah. No disrespect to Grimshaw, but
like I'm sure Grimshaw. There we go. I'm sure he's a fine fighter, but like.
Yeah, that was a random headliner. Like you saw that and you're like, yeah.
Like that dude who fought in like Bama, who's never fought in like Bellator before, is just like the headliner.
Yeah, but Bellator going Bellator, but Karakhanyan stepping in, so that should be a fun one. On that same card on Bellator 218, Linton Vassell is moving up to heavyweight. He will be fighting Valentin Moldavsky, if I said that correct. I don't know I don't really know how to feel about Vassell at heavyweight, but
I mean, you gotta try something new sometimes, you know.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe I don't know. Maybe somehow at heavyweight it just all clicks. I like Vassell though. I always thought he would do better than what I've seen. I don't know. Maybe this move will just somehow work. Who knows? But we'll see. But at Bellator 219. Mike Jasper will be stepping in for why am I drawing a blank? He's fighting Andrei Koreshkov at Bellator 219. Yeah, he's
Oh,
stepping in
Lawrence
for Lorenz.
Larkin.
Yeah, he's stepping in for Lorenz Larkin. Well, I couldn't say that. Bellator 220, my homie Ben Henderson, he's back fighting Adam Piccolotti, and also on 220, Phil Davis and Liam McGeary will be fighting again.
That are rematches.
Yeah. Well, I guess at 205 it makes sense.
Well, just like in general this week, it's just like, okay, we're getting Jacare Romero 2, Lad Eubanks 2, Davis McGeary 2.
Well, I guess for the Romero at least, that one was a little different because it was supposed to have been Romero Costa, but apparently Romero Costa is like the Tony Habib of middleweight. Like it's just it gets booked and it just never happens. The Lad fight was kind of funny though, because like you go from potentially fighting Holly Holm and then they give you somebody you beat in Invicta like a couple years ago.
So just like not to go on a tangent too much, but like I want the audience to know about the weird stuff that Stoke sends us. Because he just sent us a text, and it's for competitive frog jumping. And according to him, this is where he lives.
Competitive frog jumping. Oh man. Well. Hey man.
Are they racing the frog? Or are they? What is this? I think they're trying to scare the frog into jumping forward.
Oh man.
And it's shot with like the gravitas of like a UFC Fight Night promo.
What's that one? This is a random. Is it called cornhole? Is that what that's called? Where they throw the little bag?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a competitive thing on ES. That was on like ESPN 3 one day when I was randomly surfing through channels. So
I think it's a huge indictment against MMA that it took like how many years now? Like 15 years, 10 years, whatever, for like Dana and company to get on ESPN. When you have like competitive acts like throwing championships on ESPN too, and have for like several, like freaking kata, like karate kata, the what is it, the IKSJFF, whatever the karate kata organization is called, they get their stuff aired on ESPN too.
Yeah, boy, Dana, what have we been doing
over
here?
I just want ESPN Plus to be nothing but nonsense sports. We can get competitive frog jumping on there.
Oh boy, that might be the home for the Barbecue Fight League. We might have finally found the home. We just got to convince somebody.
I mean, we're less in debt than PFL, so they're off the good start.
Moving on down the news and notes. Actually, speaking of PFL, they did something I thought was pretty cool. I'm not sure how this will turn out, but I like the idea. I like that they're at least making a concerted effort. PFL is actually having a women's lightweight division. Is it bad if I say that they should all thank Kayla Harrison for this? I think they should all thank Kayla Harrison. I
mean, yeah, it's like it's like the reason why the UFC had a women's bantamweight division, because of Ronda Rousey. It's like,
yeah,
except on a much smaller scale.
But anywho, I like that they're making.
I like that they're trying.
Yeah, like because you obviously with Kayla Harrison you have as close as they'll get, I guess, to like a quote unquote a star. Like you have a really great prospect, somebody you really want to push and get out there.
Extremely marketable. Like she's fairly good with media.
Yeah, so it's a win-win. So now they're gonna try. They're gonna have an entire division. The names that I saw listed were Kayla Harrison, Sarah Kaufman, all right, I might butcher a few of these. Janah Fabian, Bobby Joe Dalzell, Svetlana Kotova, Roberta Samad, Larissa Pacheco, and Morgan Freire.
Yes. I know Bobby Joe Dalzell because she's like she's fought for CFFFC out here. Wait, CFFC, yeah. Down in Atlantic City. Jenna Fabian's apparently like the WMC Muay Thai champion, like world Muay Thai champion. Svetlana Katova is like a welterweight who's coming down. Roberta Samad's a former Bellator fighter. She actually lost to Julia Budd on like a prelim. Larissa Pacheco, former UFC fighter, was on Tough 28 and got bounced by Macy Chiasson in the first round. And Morgan Freer, I believe, is like a Gladiator Challenge alum. So like if you remember like Extreme Fight Series, it's in the vein of those that matchmaking where like we're gonna build up this prospect and she's gonna be like 6-0, but she's gonna be fighting like soccer moms and like hobbyist jiu-jitsu players.
Was she the one? Because I didn't write it, but I had saw their records. Was she the one that's like 11-2?
No, that is
Is that Larissa?
That's Larissa
One of these.
Pacheco.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say somebody on this list that stood out to me like, oh, I was just surprised that at lightweight they even had that many fights.
Well, no, she's a bantamweight. She's fought as low as flyweight, I think. Like she lost to Jessica Andrade and Jermaine Durandamy in the UFC.
Oh, so she's just.
Yeah, no, like, but she also fought them when she was like 22 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know, she also got bounced by Macy Chiasson in the first round of the Tough House thing. So, it's Sarah Kaufman. So everybody knows Sarah Kaufman. So
yeah, Sarah's fun.
Like I said this on like a while ago, but like I had a list of people I wanted them to get before the tournament. Like I would have loved to have them had Josette Cotton back just because she's a real like 155er. Like excuse me, Ediane Gomes, who I know was like chomping at the bit trying to get in this tournament. Felicia Spencer, but she actually just signed with the UFC yesterday. Or recently. But she's the Invicta featherweight champion. King Reina. I would love to see King Reina in the tournament, but I don't know how that would have worked out with her fighting in Ryzen. You know, what was that girl's name? Veronica Rothenhausler. Remember her?
Mm-hmm.
She's the woman with that like the tall ass woman with that crazy one punch knockout, and then she got beat up by like Charmaine Tweet. Like there were other women out there I would have liked to have seen like getting a shot, but I mean they did the best with what they had, and it's a fine roster for like something that's probably never been done outside of like tough amateur fights before.
Yeah, it's a start, and I mean, you don't hope injuries happen, but there's a chance somebody could miss a fight for whatever reason, and maybe, you know, they'll reach out to maybe one of those other names you mentioned, and.
I'm just like if Kayla Harrison wins, like I'm just hoping like there's a woman at from 136 to I guess it'd be like 148, 49. That's like, hey, Kayla Harrison just made $1 million beating up on women who had no business fighting her. I could totally do that. So we get like a Kayla Miracle or what's her name? Adeline Gray, there we go. Like someone like that who's like an Olympic national team quality wrestler who just goes on and comes to MMA and is just like, I can make a bunch of money doing this because you know that's how the sport's gonna grow.
We'll see. Shout out to PFL for trying something different. Yeah, we appreciate your efforts over here. And the last two bits of news that I had, Triple G. Signed a 3-year, 6-fight contract with DAZN. So that's the thing. And the last bit of news.
Did it say how much money it was for?
They probably didn't. I actually just didn't write it down. I didn't look. I just saw a headline. Let me jot this down real quick.
Because I'm curious. Because I know Triple G like hates Canelo now after their 2 fights, and it's just like I can't imagine him taking much less than Canelo. Like you know what I mean? Like just based on pride.
Yeah.
So there must be like a sweetener in his deal where if he beats Canelo, he gets a pay bump or something.
We'll see. But DAZN is trying to stack up, man.
They now have a stranglehold on the middleweight division between Canelo, Jacobs, and Triple G.
And then my last note. And semi boxing related adjacent news.
Yeah.
Yeah. Paulie Malignaggi. He's back. Won't be in the boxing ring though.
I mean, it is.
Yeah, it is. Well, yeah, it is. Just
This
it's
isn't
different.
this isn't England. They're not fighting between the hay barrels like Frank Shamrock was.
Yeah. Paulie's back. He'll be in bare knuckle fighting championship the next time you see him.
And the plan is for him to fight Artemolov.
Yeah, that's gonna be the pay-per-view that puts him over the top. That's the bare knuckle million buys.
Here's if Paulie still wanted to fight, I'm sure like he could get like pretty decent paydays just going to like Italy and just fighting there because like he's the last big Italian descended like fighter. Like he's done it before, like where he's just gone to Italy and taken a like easy fight and just got paid like I'm sure like 5-6 figures and just bounced. Like I don't get why he's siding with this Wyoming-based promotion.
Because Wyoming is just they hot in the streets right now. Apparently, Wyoming that's the place to be. That's where it's all going down at.
Kanye, what have you done?
Right, like this is.
Like, it's so bizarre. Like, no, like they have to be paying good money. Like I can't imagine they got Paulie cheap.
I wonder if they're gonna like ever cross promote with like Dada's. What's it called? The Brawl for All, whatever. Something I forgot. We mentioned it a couple episodes ago. Get some bare knuckle crossover going.
Oh, Dada, he's there as he's not a fighter. He's
Yeah, he's the promoter, but like the fighters that he has, you know.
He has fighters.
Well. All right. Let me rephrase. The people who have willingly chosen to participate in the Trigon, as it is called. I don't know. The bare knuckle thing.
See, I'm all down for like dog fighters, like the dudes from the dog fight league, just fighting former UFC fighters. Oh God, that's so bad.
The bare knuckle thing for me is just. I feel like the way the average person looks at like MMA in general. Is like the way that I look at the bare knuckle league. Man, I'm just like, what is this?
Man, if you're okay with elbows, you should be okay with bare knuckle fighting. I'm just saying.
I know, I should be. I know, like I'm a hypocrite. I know, but it just there's something about the bare knuckle thing where I'm like, guys, like we did this in the '90s, but we don't have to do this anymore.
You mean the 1890s?
Whatever. Like We've grown, we've evolved. We don't have to be like this anymore, guys. Just stop. But I don't know, man. People
you guys have been, you and Joey and all these other people have just been pacified by Queensberry rules, and we need to go back to old school. John L. Sullivan hammering on some dude's head with no gloves on, just rope.
I don't know.
They should do what they do in Thailand, like with like the traditional Muay Thai guys who don't fight in the stadiums. They literally just fight with like rope dipped in like cement.
Oh boy, trying to do the blood sport.
Yeah. Got some cement, got some glass. Just go in there and
just go all out. I don't know. I'll let you guys have fun with the bare knuckle shenanigans.
I mean, I'm not paying for it.
No, yeah, never. Some people did. But
somebody has to because they keep doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all for freak show, carnival, and people making money. So
as long as you know what you signed up for, you know, it's cool. I guess. I'm not gonna be there. But y'all.
Beck Rollins is out here making dough. Any way she can.
Yeah. I ain't mad at
and Joey Beltran. And Joey Beltran is a dude who should have been fighting bare knuckle his whole career, if we're being honest.
Oh man, real quick before we move on, because a couple of these fights were pretty interesting. Just to dig in a few of these, we'll just talk about the big three, the first three I mentioned. Aldo Volkanovski,
I appreciate that Aldo has committed himself to just eliminating all the contenders at featherweight before he decides to leave.
and I appreciate that. This makes me love Aldo even more, because like he could easily be at that point in his career where it's like, all right, my prime years are behind me. I've lost to the champ twice, and you know, I could just kind of be out here, just maybe I'll fight every now and again. I'll just do a fun fight, but I'm not really, I don't really need to be out here like that. Like I've kind of done it all already. It's not much else out here for me to really accomplish. But no, like he's out here like fighting like legit, you know. He's fighting like a guy who's not planning on retiring soon. Like he's still fighting the top guys.
Right. It does make me
And
curious. Like he said he wanted to box when he was done. Like it makes me like, oh, are you actually going to go box when you're done? And this is your way of like building your, what you call it, your resume or whatever.
I don't know, because I feel like they're still. I still think as good as he, like I said, I've said this. I think I think this showed in the Moicano fight, and we'll see how it plays out in this fight. But I've said this in his last few fights that I still think he has more in the tank than people give him credit for. Like
He is above and
albeit
beyond the second best featherweight
right,
in this division.
and taking on Volkanovski like that's a tough fight, man. I saw this matchup and I was like, ooh, this. I'm glad Aldo took this fight, because I'm like, you can never say this man takes the easy way out, because we saw how Volkanovski Mendez played out, and Volkanovski, man, he showed out that fight, man. He had his coming out party, and Volkanovski's just we saw how competitive like that second Aldo Mendez fight was. So now I'm looking at Aldo Volkanovski like this is gonna be a tough one, like. I think Aldo's gonna have to work for this.
Right.
But I'm like, what if he wins? Like, what if he goes in, Volkanovski? I think regardless, Volkanovski's gonna give him a really hard fight. I think he's gonna make Aldo work. He's gonna be in his face. It's gonna be a fun one. I guarantee it's gonna be a fun fight. But I'm like, if Aldo snipes Volkanovski, so that means you took out Volkanovski. You just got done with Moicano. Where else are you going? Are we making like another featherweight run? Or are we gonna go to lightweight? Like, what are we?
I think it depends on what happens with Max. Like if Max wins against Poirier and basically guarantees himself a title shot in like the fall or early winter, like you just have all those retirement fight beef for the featherweight title. You feel me?
Yeah, I guess so.
And then you deal with like it's gonna be messy regardless if Holloway wins and then he goes up to lightweight and or he takes on Khabib and actually manages to beat him, which is possible. Like he can't defend both titles. Like let's just put that like that aside. Like that's not a thing he's going to be able to do. So if he fights Khabib, if he beats Poirier and then fights Khabib in like I don't know October or November, and he wins, like he just moves. He's just a lightweight now. You know what I mean? Like he relinquishes the 145 belt. Although can fight whoever is left, for the title at that point.
And I was gonna say I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. This might be a little biased, but this little like Aldo run to me is still and I'm sure Joey's gonna throw a banana at the screen. Aldo's furthering his resume.
Yeah.
And to me, it's further solidifying his featherweight GOAT status.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I know Joey's kicking and screaming. He's gonna fight me after this. It's fine.
Yeah, like,
but he's still, because now you can't say like a lot of people knock on Aldo, and I don't get this. I don't understand when people do this with fighters in general. Where like, oh, he only beat X Y X Y. But like, well, those were the best guys at the time. It's not like he was just, But you can't say that now. He's fighting the legit top guys of 2019. So if he gets past Volkanovski, that's another top guy. If somehow him and Ortega match up, if that ever becomes a thing, like he's still fighting the top guys. So the resume is just getting deeper.
Right.
But no, this awesome fight. really enjoyed that matchup. Really looking forward to seeing how that plays out. And then real quick before we move on to some of these cards, because I felt like you snickered when I said this fight. Alexander Gustafson and Anthony Smith.
So, is it in the 50,000 person stadium like it was last time or whatever? Or the 30,000? I don't remember how big it was when he got knocked out by Rumble.
I'm not sure.
Because if it is, I'm picking Anthony Smith.
Yeah, oh my God. I'm mad that I had the same thought. Like, and I love Gus, man. Like, I've been a Gus advocate for a long time. I wanted to truly believe that this man was gonna hold the belt. Like, I felt it. Like, I thought, he would give me that one performance where he finally got the belt. I don't know how long he'd be able to hold on to it, but he would just get it. And so far, that just hasn't happened. And just after the Jones fight, when I saw this matchup, I was like, Smith is gonna win this. Like, Smith probably shouldn't win this, but I just feel like he is. Like, I don't know. Gus.
I like the point. It's taking place at something called the Ericsson Globe, which is the most Swedish thing I can think to name anything. It's not the big one. It's a what is it, 17,000 capacity stadium. So it's not the, it wouldn't be the colossal. I'm not gonna say failure, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, you wouldn't get it reduces the embarrassment if losing in front of 17,000 as opposed to
Also, like I'm assuming now that everything's on ESPN Plus, because this card apparently is going to take place on ESPN Plus on June 1st. So I'm assuming it's not going to be taking place at like 3 in the morning, which is what happened with the Rumble fight. So that might be beneficial for Gus. Like, it might just be like live there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock there, which I don't know what that translates to here. Like maybe mid-afternoon here. But that'd be beneficial for Gus, because I think that had a little bit of a part of it. And like, you feel bad for the fans who literally, they're just there to see Gus, and they stayed around till like 3 o'clock in the morning, and they were nice enough not to boo Rumble.
Right. And boy, did they saw Gus get folded.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, but I mean, props to Smith. That's a quick turnaround. Like, you just got out of a title fight, and where you got battered, like you got abused for the better part of 5 rounds, and he's jumping right back out there.
Dude's a work man.
I respect it. I respect it. I don't really want to talk about Shevchenko Eye that much.
Hater. Sad, do you think Shevchenko stops her or just styles on her for 5 rounds? Because I can see her getting on top and just like getting that submission.
It's gonna be both. I think there will be a styling and then there will be a stoppage. The styling is gonna lead to the stoppage. Like, we're gonna find out real quick in that fight that there are levels to this.
Right. I think for Shevchenko's benefit, she has to go out there and stop Jessica Eye, because like this division is not going to have someone who's ready for her for a hot minute. So to hold interest, she has to go out there and just go to town on these people. Yeah. Like she did to that Cachoeira girl. Like, you have to show the level of, you have to entertain some way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, Jessica is going to give her that opportunity. Like, with, I think, the way Jessica fights. Like, Shevchenko will get the opportunity to show off everything she can do. Boy, if Jessica somehow pulls this off, I'm not ready for the post-fight speech that will ensue.
Where she talks about everybody who's ever wronged her, despite the fact that they've done nothing to her.
I'm not ready. I'm definitely not ready.
I'm never gonna get over the fact that we all just kind of moved past the time she threatened to sue a journalist because he reported that she failed like a marijuana test.
I don't know. But best of luck, Jessica, man, because that is yikes. It's not a phone call I'm looking forward to.
I mean, title
But
shot.
yeah, you gotta do it. You gotta do it. You can't say no to that. But
Oh,
boy, that's
hopefully Joanne Calderwood gets out there again in the meantime and puts her name in title contention because I think that'd be a fun fight
yeah, that would be a fun.
if she can keep it out of the clinch.
Yeah. So we'll see. But yeah, those are some big fights. Big fights coming up. And then also Romero Jacare too. Shout out to Monte again. I never mentioned this because it was actually a while ago, but back when we did our award show last year, um, he got mad at me because I gave Fight of the Year to Tenshin over Yoel, and he told me we have to fight in a cornfield. So at some point we have to shoot the fair one in the cornfield. Which is wild because life comes full circle. I was in somebody's Twitch stream the other day and we randomly there was a random conversation about somebody fighting in a cornfield. I was like, I don't know how I would feel if somebody laid me out in a cornfield. Like I live by there are cornfields not too far from where I live, maybe about 2 towns over. If you get knocked down in a cornfield, nobody's gonna see you. Like those stalks are pretty high. Like you're just gonna be out there.
Like,
And
better pray it's not serious because they'll never find you.
yeah, they will never find you. You get laid out in a cornfield, that is over, buddy. The person who works the cornfield is gonna have to find you because nobody else is gonna see you. That's over. But that's pretty much it for news and notes.
Oh, we got one more bit of news.
Oh snap! Oh yeah, I forgot. I'll let you head this one off since I almost skipped over it.
Well, I think we have different bits of news.
Oh, what you got?
I got the early buy rates for UFC 235.
Oh,
yeah, numbers. And guess who's a fucking draw? People really invested in Anthony Smith because I think the early indicators were this card was supposed to do like 350 to 400,000. Like that's what it was trending towards, but according to the Wrestling Observer, the pay-per-view numbers the early estimates were anywhere from 520,000 to 650,000 buys.
Hey man, the Cinderella story is everybody likes a story like that. Like
I think it has more to do with the fact that people were like, "Oh, Jones is actually going to fight."
Right.
And we can't rule out the fact that it had to lead in with well, who was playing that day? Was it Duke, North Carolina that day?
There was some big game. There was a game that day. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And it was one of the top schools.
Yeah, and
that always helps.
I don't think people realize what this move from Spike did to the UFC in terms of just like, oh, there are going to be 2-something million people who are watching this prelim because it's a prelim on Spike. And the move to Fox, to FX, just kind of, I think interrupting people's like scheduling more than anything just fucked with them. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm not used to going to Fox on Saturdays. Like, I'm normally just here. I don't do anything. I normally watch college football or basketball on Saturdays, so I'm gonna just chill here. But like, I don't think people realize like how out of touch your casual fan who makes up the extra, who like there's always gonna be like 150,000 people who are gonna buy a UFC card. I shouldn't say always, but for the immediate future, there's always gonna be like 150,000 people who buy a UFC card. The extra people, like the extra like 500,000 people who barely bought this one, like they are not. Most of them are not MMA fans per se. They're not going to be people who listen to this podcast, for instance. They might tweet at Dana White once in a while, just because they want to live his lifestyle or something. But they're not the type of people who have like whole blogs and podcasts and go on like forums and stuff to talk about MMA. They're just people who are like, oh, I like violence.
Right. And that's why, like, I think we said this before, like, a lot of people, and I'm just going to assume this, I'm generalizing, but I feel like it's true. a lot of MMA fans don't really watch other sports. Like, a lot of them just kind of stay in their little combat sports bubble.
Yeah,
So always,
I'm sure if you looked it up, it's probably like maybe football #1, but it's like pro wrestling #2. You know what I mean?
right, yeah. So, and you always see this every ESPN card, like, oh, they always complain about, oh, this basketball game's on, I need it to end. Listen, guys, first of all, shut up. I'm sorry. You need to understand that this is a great thing. Because you guys don't know how big college sports are. So you get all of these eyes who are watching the end of, let's just say Duke Carolina, which is like one of the biggest rivalries in college basketball. And now you have fights coming on directly after that game's over. So all of these millions of people who probably were thinking about, you know what, I'm just going to cut the TV off, blah, 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 I'm going to go do something else. Maybe at like the last minute of the Duke Carolina game, that like they split the screen and show like the commercial of what's, highlight of what's coming on next.
Right.
And you see somebody get head kicked. And now out of those millions of people, I don't know, maybe not all of them. Let's say just a quarter of those million of people, like, you know what, I'm gonna stick around for this UFC thing because somebody got head kicked and they made it look exciting.
Right.
You need those eyes. You need those people. That's gonna make the numbers look good. And if that ESPN thing is like a prelim to a pay-per-view, some of those people, maybe not all of them, but a good amount, if they got the money, maybe they'll drop 60 and they'll pay to watch, Jones or whatever big name. They'll just pay for the big name. They don't really care about the undercard, but that's not the point.
Like, maybe they've heard of like Cody Garbrandt or Tyron Woodley, but they're there for Jones.
Right. They know the buzz names. So you need those people. They bring extra eyes. They bring money because we've said this before, the casuals make up most of the fan base. It's not as much as we like to think it would be. The people who sit around like us and dissect fights and obsess over this crazy sport, we're not the majority.
If we were, we'd have way more listeners.
Right. Yeah. So be thankful that this basketball game that you may not care about is leading into UFC because we're stealing some of that audience and it's a win-win for everybody.
And be thankful it's not college baseball anymore because nobody watches college baseball.
Right, because that would go extra innings and that's a whole nother.
That's different. That you could bitch about that.
Yeah, right. That I won't complain about. But so moving on, the other last bit of news that I wanted to we both can share our thoughts on, then we'll move on to these fights. So Conor McGregor and Donald Cerrone, we had reported this a while back that there were like rumblings that fight was gonna be a thing, but nobody was really too sure. But the idea was floated out there. I was all for it. Seemed like a good fight. I thought it was a good matchup for both of them. So we were just going to keep our eyes on that story. So news came out the other day, might have been yesterday or maybe the day before. So it seems like this fight, at least as of now, is looking like it will not happen. But the reasoning I thought was interesting. So from what I've seen, I don't have the article in front of me, but just to paraphrase, per Donald Cerrone, he's ready to do this anytime, anywhere. We can fight tomorrow, next week, backyard, food court, basketball court. He doesn't care. He's ready. McGregor, apparently not so much, because he wants this to be a main event. And I think as the fight stands now, it would have been like a co-main event, which is stupid. Where per Cerrone, he doesn't care what it is, but McGregor's like, nah, bro, I need my main event. I need my main event status.
Well, I'm assuming there's a difference of like millions of dollars in it for him because he probably has something in his contract where he's like, oh, if I'm in the main event, I'm getting so and so. Which begs the question, why doesn't his contract say he has to be in the main event? Because we know that's a thing that's happened before. Like Alistair Overeem at one point had that in his contract that he had to be in the main event or co-main event. So, I think that I don't think that that's not the issue. You know what I mean? Like Conor wants it to like that's probably the thing that's actually like it's not the UFC lying to Cerrone, but probably not only telling truth by halves because they're probably looking to save money on whatever they'd have to pay Conor. And maybe they're not confident that he would do the numbers that he would have done without the title. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um,
And see that. Oh, good.
but like at the same time, the UFC has like four champions who are incapacitated right now. Like between DC waiting for Lesnar, who else? Max Holloway fighting for an interim title. Who knows what's up with Kelvin Gastelum? Um, who knows what's happening with like the bantamweight title at the moment? Like apparently there's a rumor out that's going to be Cejudo. It's going to be in June or something. But like you have 12 pay-per-views to fill this year, and like a good amount of your champions are just not going to be ready to go anytime soon. So I don't know why you would like, and the biggest draw just so happens to be a guy who's not a champion. So I don't know why they just don't fucking fill the spot. Outside of they just don't want to pay McGregor the money. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because the UFC's done like non-title fights as main events before. Like that's how we got Silva Diaz. And that card did good numbers, if I remember right. It was like 600,000 to 700,000 buys. And most of the other times it's been like last minute things where like, oh, the title fight fell out, so we have to rush Dan Henderson, Rashad Evans into the main event, whatever. But no, it just seems like a money thing. Like they are disagreeing over like what they want McGregor to get paid for this fight.
I was kind of split on this because one part of me, um, I mean, I'm not like a huge McGregor fan, but I'll tell anybody, like, get your money, like get your money while you can, while you're still healthy, while you're still on top, because you never know what can happen. Um, the sport can be very unforgiving, so you need to get paid while you can. But then it was really hard for me to judge this also because I don't know like what card this was supposed to be on.
I think he
Like
said June. And maybe they have a main event in mind for that card in June. And they were like, well, we can't fit you in June. We can't fit you in like July because that's international fight week. And we're probably going to have like, I think that's where they're aiming for like Lesnar to come back, you know? Lesnar, so they could do Lesnar DC. Or or Jones Santos. Like those are probably the fights they have in mind for that date.
Yeah, cause see, I was gonna say that because to be fair to McGregor, like if it is the case where like it's well, I don't know, cause I want to say the hater in me, but I can't even say the hater because I feel like this is logical. I feel like, and maybe I am wrong. If he's on a card and there's a title fight, you don't have a belt anymore, sir. So
yeah, no,
I'm sorry, yeah, you can't headline. Like
yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah, you don't. But if he's on a card and there's no other title fight, then yes, he should headline. Because that just unless your main event is like, you know, I don't know, I can't even really think of one off the top of my head. But
Lesnar
unless
DC.
you got some, yeah, you got to have a crazy main event for him to co-headline.
And maybe
yeah,
I don't know this for sure, but maybe it's just like a thing where he's like, if I'm in the main event, I'm actually getting pay-per-view points. Like it could be that, which is a huge deal. That's where most of his money would be made. I don't know. I guess it
depends on where he's being
shoved.
Yeah, I need to know more because I ain't gonna lie. My immediate reaction was, I don't care that you're not headlining, sir. You got mauled in your last fight. You don't call shots anymore.
I mean,
that was the hater in me speaking.
Yeah, like let's be real. Like dude call shots because he's the only guy who is guaranteed 1 million buys every single time out.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'll reserve judgment because I wanted to blast him, but I'll have to wait to see because I don't know. It's too much gray for me to really jump out. And but like I said, if he's on a card and there's no title fights, then yeah, no brainer headline.
Yeah.
But if he's on a card and there are title fights, and I don't care what title it is, I don't care if it's flyweight, bantamweight, I don't care who it is. You don't headline. I'm sorry. You don't have a belt anymore. Well, that's just
like, and I get it. Like, you don't want half your audience leaving after McGregor fights Cerrone.
Right.
And then like poor, I don't know, TJ Dillashaw and Henry Cejudo are just stuck fighting in this like half empty stadium because all
Right.
the Irish people left to go get drunk for the night. Like you don't want that.
But you gotta, to me, it's like you gotta, even though, God, the way the UFC at least, I feel like I ain't gonna say belts don't mean anything, but you gotta try to preserve some integrity for the belt.
We're about to have a card with 2 interim title fights on it.
I know.
But
I just feel like championships, like that's a no. They have to headline.
Yeah.
Like if the championship fight doesn't headline, then why do we even have?
yeah, like we're talking about the same company that put Misha Tate, Amanda Nunes over Lesnar, Mark Hunt. Like,
Yeah.
and I applaud them. I applaud them for that because you know that takes guts.
Yeah, they could have easily swept that under the rug.
I think this just tells us that they have fights in mind for June and July. So if we do get Cerrone, McGregor, it's probably going to be in August or September if they don't have anything planned that far out.
We'll see. I hope they can work that out though, because I think that's a really interesting fight. Like I think Cerrone, dad, final form Cerrone, is he's been on a roll lately, and McGregor's kind of in this weird place. I think in his career where like we don't really see him that often. Then we saw him against Khabib. He didn't really look, he didn't look too good.
I mean, who looks
got
good?
one up.
I'd argue he's the best somebody's looked against Khabib since like Gleason Tebow.
But I don't know how much that's good. I mean, yeah, you got a point. I mean, Khabib just kind of does that to everybody. But he got ragged though. He got beat on.
Right.
So I think they're both. I think it's a perfect matchup. And I think for McGregor, like this is a winnable fight. But I think it's winnable for both, to be honest. But I don't know. I think that's a good matchup. So I hope somehow they do figure that out, because I think that's a fight a lot of people would be interested in seeing.
Right.
So I don't know. We'll keep an eye and see how that whole thing unfolds. But so that was it for news and notes for the week. Before we get on to the Derek Lewis and Junior Dos Santos fight, quick mentions of some other cards that went down this weekend. Well, I'll do these one-offs real quick. Tenshin, Nasukawa, and Takeru both fought this weekend. Not against each other, but they both fought on their own respective cards. Tenshin Nasukawa fought on Rise World Series. He defeated Federico Roma via TKO in round 3. Caught him with a nice little... I don't know if that was the finishing kick, because it was just a highlight. I'm going to assume that was the kick that ended it, but he caught Federico with like a nice little capoeira kick, like perfectly timed. Alien mode. We know what you know what Tenshin does. So that was on Rise World Series 2019. So I don't know if that's floating around on the internet somewhere, but go look it up. Try to find a highlight. It was an awesome finish. And then Takeru fought on the K1 World Grand Prix event called K Festa 2. He defeated... Oh, here we go. I just want to say he defeated Chuck Norris because that's the picture on the site. He defeated Yokitsada Uchenburi via TKO round 2. From the highlight I saw, it looked like he mauled him. So Takeru and Tenshin continue to do awesome things except fight each other. Just throwing that out there. One day it'll happen.
I mean, they're both young. Hopefully they don't burn out before then.
Right. We'll get Takeru Tenshin when, I don't know, they're both like 36. Somehow they've had like 4 knee surgeries and it's not the same.
Right.
But other cards that went down this weekend, Glory had a card, Glory 64 and Strasbourg. I didn't get a chance to catch a lot of this card, but from the little bit I saw, it did look pretty entertaining. In the main event, Cedric Doumbé blasted Harut Grigorian in the second round and took his welterweight title back. There was an awesome moment in that fight. Well, not really awesome. Actually, it could have cost Doumbé the fight, but luckily he ended up winning anyway. He knocked he knocks Gregorian down. He thinks the fight is over. Leaves the ring, goes to celebrate in the crowd. Doing the whole shaking hands with the fans. Fight wasn't over. Had to run back in the ring and knock him down again. But no, he mauled Gregorian, so he took his belt back in pretty devastating fashion. Anissa Mexen defeated Tiffany Van Soest and retained her super bantamweight title. And we also had D'Angelo Marshall defeating Daniel Score. I don't know how to say his last name. Skvor via knockout. And round 3. Where's the Groenhart? And Alim Naibiv defeated Myrtle Groenhart via split decision. But there were some other good fights on that card. Go give that a look. That's on Fight Pass. And One Championship had a card, Reign of Valor, that went down, headline for their welterweight title. So Sebastian Kadestam defeated Georgi Kachin via TKO in round 2, so he retained his welterweight title. There were some other notable fights. Moreau Cirilli defeated Alain Neglani, the very superhero-looking gentleman. But Morrow defeated him TKO round 1. Fothal defeated Yohan Mulia Lagowo via round 1 TKO. But like I said, I didn't get a chance to watch a lot of the one card, but you know how one does. A couple kickboxing, a couple MMA fights. Always good stuff. Lots of good quality violence. So go give that a look. I guess you can mention the boxing cards. So you probably saw much more than I did.
So, over on Fox, we had Sean Porter fight, what was it? Your Dennis Ugas. Porter ended up winning I want to say it was a split decision. Yeah, split decision. In a fight he really probably shouldn't have. He should have lost, to be honest, TBH. Yeah, Ugas fought like a really good fight. I'm not surprised that they kind of robbed him, but you feel bad for Ugas because it's already hard for a lot of Cuban dudes to get these big fights because people know they're going to be tough and they don't have a whole bunch of name value to them because who nobody's coming from Cuba to come watch them fight. So yeah, it's always hard for them to get big fights, and he got his opportunity, he took it, and he should have won, but he did. But the judges. So what you gonna do? Also last night over on DAZN we had Dimitri Bivol fighting Joe Smith Jr. For those who don't remember Joe Smith Jr., he is the man who sent Bernard Hopkins through the ropes. And what turned out to be Hopkins' last fight.
We don't have to bring that up.
We did. I did. And there's nothing you can do to stop me.
There's some things we just need to forget.
I mean, if it makes you feel any better, Bivol beat the crap out of him for 12 rounds.
Yeah, he deserved it. Every bit of it.
Yeah, no, just I think the judges gave Smith 1 round. So shouts to Bivol. I don't know what he's gonna do because Sergey Kovalev, I think is on ESPN. Who's the other dude that light heavyweight right now? What's his name? Here we go. Godsevic. I suck at names. I think Godsevic's with PBC. I could be wrong about that. Oh, he's on ESPN too. So, there's not a whole bunch out there for him at light heavyweight. They were theorizing that he might jump down to 168 to go fight Callum Smith. Which would be a good fight. And would open up the potential fights with Canelo and Danny Jacobs and Gennady Golovkin if whoever comes out of that heap ever decides they want to move up to 168, and they're on the same they're all on the same platform with DAZN, so it's a possibility. Is there anything else on that card? If you're following Maurice Hooker's rise up through the rankings, he beat up some dude, Mikel Lespierre, who probably had no business being in there with him, but took him to a decision, so it was fine. Delphine Persoon, one of the top female pound for pound boxers on the planet, took on Melissa St. Ville and got her to quit on the stool. And that's really it. Nice little weekend for boxing, and we have Tevin Farmer fighting this week, and Errol Spence Jr. versus Mikey Garcia on pay-per-view. So,
Hey.
if you're willing to put down, I'm going to assume the $75.
Jeez.
I have no idea. PBC is crazy with these pricings. Like, what was it for? I think that's what it was for Pacquiao versus Broner. It was like $75.
If you bought that card, buddy.
I mean, you did to yourself.
Yeah, yikes. Yeah, but yeah, so good weekend of fights. There were a lot, and there was some I didn't even mention. Like I think Cage Warriors had a card.
Yeah.
I think Nicholas Dalby has like an interim belt now. So yeah, there were a lot of fights this weekend. So go on Fight Pass. There's a lot of stuff you probably missed. So do your Googles, do your research. Lot of violence that went down this weekend. But moving on, man. Alrighty, to the main event of the evening. Excuse me, I almost died. Going down in Wichita, Kansas, we had UFC Fight Night on ESPN Plus 4.
So, question: is every JDS fight just going to be a random market opener from now on? Because in the Midwest, because that's what it feels like. Because they had him fight in freaking Iowa, like before his last fight with Tai Tuivasa.
I don't know, something about JDS screams Midwest sensation. I don't know. He's a likable guy. I don't know.
I'm sorry. It was Idaho. Idaho.
That's no better. Shout out to Idaho. I don't know. Maybe he's the only one who's willingly wanting to fight in these just random, I don't think you can call anybody up and yo, we got to fight. It's going down in Wichita. Are you down? I don't think anybody's jumping up and down for that.
Yeah.
Maybe he's the only one. He doesn't even know what Wichita is, probably.
Wichita's a real thing. I thought, what was it? Seven Nation Army or whatever made that up.
Right. They conned him into it. He thought he was going somewhere else. By the time he signed the contract, it was too late.
I think this just points out that JDS doesn't have a very good geographic sense of what the United States is like. I think is he at ATT or is he still in Brazil?
I don't know.
He's just
Sure.
Wichita. That sounds really fancy and nice.
I can't blame him. I'm not geographically aware really either.
You're like, wait, what the hell is Kansas?
Well, he went on down to Kansas, as did the rest of these fighters. Had a little event, a little fisticuffs this weekend. So this ESPN Plus card was headline of Junior Dos Santos versus Derek Lewis. So we will just jump right into it. So I'll preface this event or this breakdown of pretty much this whole card by saying I pretty much watched this card this morning. I went out last night, so the only two fights I saw in real time were prelim fights that I barely remember. So I had to rewatch these this morning. Did not see any of this in real time.
I'm just gonna throw this out there. I am still sick. I was sick yesterday, and I passively watched this card because my brain was fried. Because I was like,
we're gonna make it.
I thought I was gonna oh, you know what? I'm gonna go play basketball because that's what clears my head when I'm sick. Yeah, that was a bad idea.
Yeah, we're gonna make it. We're gonna get through. But nah, man. But this main event, pretty. I feel like for heavyweight fights, you can't ask for too much. So when I get something that's even remotely fun, I'm ecstatic. But I'm always looking forward to a Derek Lewis fight, and JDS is my all-time favorite heavyweight. So I knew this fight was going to give me something. Wasn't sure what was going to happen because Derek Lewis just has that crazy life-ending power. And, JDS has been on a good roll as of late, and that actually continued. We'll get to that. But, like, you just still never know, especially against a guy like Lewis. Like you said, he has that one one-hitter quitter, that's liable to happen during any moment of the fight, no matter how much he's losing. So you never know what's going to happen. But, as a poor Alexander Volkov had to find out at the last minute. But nah, man, I like what I saw from JDS in this fight. He's moving good. He looks re-energized. He looks more confident. Like the Kane fight, took 5 to 10 years off his life, and I feel like in these last couple fights he's gained a couple years back. Like he looks better now. He just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just happy to see him win. I feel like he just looks better out there. He looks more comfortable.
I think in part that just has to do with the I'm not gonna say the quality of his competition, but the styling of his competition. Because he's been fighting a bunch of slow-footed brawlers, even going back to before the last Stipe fight where he boxed up Ben Rothwell. We were all surprised he could still do that.
Yeah. No, heavyweight is a lot of slow-footed.
Yeah, who's JDS losing to? He's losing to Cain Velasquez, Stipe Miocic, and Alistair Overeem, the 3 quickest guys in this division when it comes to foot speed, which is where he struggles. He struggles with the footwork, and in this fight we saw he's still a very good in and out boxer. When he to be.
Nice, still good with the body shots, that body jab he always throws. Right hand, firing that off. Rock Lewis with the right hand in the first round. But Lewis, man, he has some scary. Every time he throws, it's just he could end it right
He's
here.
got that leave me alone power.
Right.
Where he's not quite counter punching, but if you try to close distance on him and he is hurt, he's like, leave me the fuck alone.
Right. you got back. I'm about to catch you with one. You think it's sweet right now. Because he caught... There were a couple of moments, especially in the first, where JDS would rock him or catch him with a good one. And JDS would rush in. And they would exchange. And JDS had to back up a little bit because this...
Well, dude, he almost got knocked out.
Yeah.
The same thing Tai Tuivasa did to him.
Yeah.
Where he swung and, Derek Lewis was just right there and ready and able to, crack him with that right hand.
Yeah, that's what made this fight for me really intense to watch because man, JDS, you still clearly JDS is the better striker, just better technician in general, but Lewis just has that kind of power that you can't play with it, man. You cannot take any chances.
Right.
But nah, he stunned, he rocked Lewis in the first. One thing I did like that Lewis did do, every time JDS would go for that leg kick or that calf kick, he was trying to counter with the overhand. And he caught him a couple times, so JDS had to be really, really wary of that. There was one moment, I can't remember if it was in the first or second, where JDS, he threw the leg kick. Lewis, he was going to counter, and JDS just almost ducked to the floor, he fell over. He knew it was coming.
Right.
But JDS landed a nasty spinning back kick that caught Lewis right in the gut, and then Lewis had a Scott Smith Pete Sell moment where he's bending over. He looks like he's out of there. JDS rushes in, and Lewis just uncorks a right hand, and the fight looks like it's about to go another way. But JDS gets out of it. And for a second, it looked like Lewis was playing possum, but he kind of kept grabbing his gut, and JDS rushed him a couple times, and he definitely took advantage of that because Lewis just...
It was pretty clear that Lewis was just hurt.
Yeah, he was going through it.
You can't have a glass body at heavyweight. I mean, it works for Lewis because he could hit really hard, but... It's the worst case of glass body since Matt Brown. Yeah, that's basically it. you hit him in the body, and he is doubled over in pain for the rest of the fight, even if he manages to come back and win.
Yeah, because even after those flurries, he was holding his gut for the rest of the round. Like, and then JDS was able to capitalize. And then, you know, in typical JDS fashion, his right hand is pretty dangerous. More often than not, if he catches you with that, it's probably not going to be a good night for you. And in the second round, he kind of like pawed. I think he like kind of pawed with the left, came over with the overhand right, cracked Lewis, and then it was pretty much over from there. Like Lewis was trying to survive, but JDS just kind of swarmed him, landed uppercuts, just didn't really let him breathe. And then next thing you know, Lewis is on the ground, and JDS is hovering over him, dropping bombs, and it's over. It was a fun fight though. Like it was one of those fights where you knew JDS was like the better overall fighter, but like every time Lewis would land a hard shot, it was like, ooh, like this could easily go the other way really quick.
Right.
If JDS isn't careful. But like I said, overall though, I like what I saw from JDS. You know, he was moving really well. Combination still crisp, still throwing the body shot. I really like during this like second half of his career how he's really gotten better at using kicks. Like that spinning back kick has been a nice little addition to his arsenal, and he seems to place it well when he does throw it. So good performance from JDS, who's slowly, quietly on a 3-fight win streak.
3-fight win streak.
Yeah, man. So shout outs to JDS, man. The nice. We've seen some lows from him, and it's nice to see him be on the up and up.
I think they're just always gonna. Well, not always. Like he's eventually gonna physically just not be as quick as he used to be. But I think it's pretty clear that like JDS is just stylistic poison for a lot of these dudes at heavyweight because like they're so reliant on the other guy just standing there. And for all of JDS's faults, that's just not a thing he really does.
Yeah.
So he's gonna have a nice little run as long as he doesn't fight like a Stipe Miocic again. Like I don't know if I said this on the show, but like I think he's a hard matchup for Francis Ngannou. Like I don't think he could be bullied like Alistair Overeem could be bullied.
No, and I would like that fight. And that's what I was trying to wonder after this, like, because JDS is another one of those guys where he's kind of in a weird position to where like you've lost to the champ. Sorry, I forgot you didn't lose. You never fought DC, but you lost to Stipe. You've had a couple of fights where you really just kind of got bludgeoned. So like, what do you do with him next? Because I mean, at heavyweight, it doesn't
matter.
Yeah,
this division is like 3 years removed from freaking Frank Mir fighting from the title, like or whatever.
Right. So it's like JDS realistically is like a fight away from like a title shot.
Yeah, if it wasn't for freaking Lesnar, he might get a title shot.
Yeah. So
just because they don't like Stipe, apparently.
So it's like I don't know what you do with JDS. Because he's beating guys like Lewis. He's still in that upper echelon. He's still hanging around there. So you can't really feed him. You know, you can't give him the no names. You know, he's still in that upper half of the division. So
good. Like I say, do the Ngannou fight on the same card you do the Lesnar DC fight if you can get it.
Yeah, and that pretty much.
I mean, and if DC wins and retires with the belt, you could just run back the Stipe fight because they it's 1-1, right?
Yep. So we'll see, but how do you feel about it overall?
That was a fun fight. Like it's about what I expected. Maybe Lewis got like a little bit more work done than I thought he would in the first round, but JDS is just like one of those dudes who's at heavyweight who punches to the body, which like in this division you'd think would be like a really common thing just because you're a 240, 50-pound dude, you hit somebody in their liver, they're not getting up, you know? But
right.
Especially in the division where everybody gets tired really quickly. Like, you hit somebody with a body jab a few times, and like you figure it will drain their gas tank really quickly. But it's just I don't think a lot of guys can get that low. Like Derek Lewis punching to the body would be amazing. Because like he'd have to like get really low in his stance. I don't think he can do that without like, you know, coming over the top with that overhand, like where his head is just facing the ground.
Right.
But yeah, no, like I figured JDS's body work would just be too much for him, and he'd just eventually he'd break him down and get him out there by the third round. Turns out, got it done a little quicker than that. And I think that comes from him just being a little less cautious than he. I'm not gonna say he should have been. He should have been like, but I think like he did take a few more risks than I thought he would.
Yeah. Against a guy who has shown you shouldn't. Is Lewis ever gonna land that switch kick?
Like he lands it to people's arms, which I think is useful, but no, I don't think he's ever gonna land it.
Cause I mean, I give him props. Like,
he's trying.
First round, Derek. Yeah, he's trying. Like, and he goes for it like multiple times. He's not giving up on the switch kick.
Right.
The switch kick is here to stay. I just feel like he's got before it's all said and done. He's got to catch one person. Somebody's got. Can you imagine a Derek Lewis switch kick KO? Like, just out of nowhere, just that might be one of the greatest highlight reels we'd ever get.
Oh, so Joey couldn't be here today because he's working like a pleb. But he did send us some questions, and one of them had to do with this main event. I like your thought.
All right.
Which is the bigger fight? DC versus JDS, DC versus Ngannou, or DC versus Miocic 2? Run those options back one more time. All right, so which is the biggest fight out of the three? DC versus JDS, DC versus Ngannou, or DC versus Miocic 2?
I'm gonna have to eliminate DC JDS because when I think of bigger, I'm interpreting this as like hype.
I think he's talking more along the lines of like buy rate.
What was the pay-per-view Ngannou headline? Did he headline, right? Or was
he headline versus Stipe?
Because I want to say DC Ngannou, but like Ngannou Stipe fight was not a good.
For the pay-per-view buy audience, that was not a good.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say intro because he fought Alistair Overeem like a month before or something, but yeah, it was not a good look for
It probably would. It probably would be DC Stipe.
Yeah, I think that's the one that moved the most buys out of the three. Yeah. Or like JDS used to be like a guaranteed like 500,000 buys, but that was because he was on like really good cards. He was fighting Kane. So yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, I wanted to say DC Ngannou, but it could have been DC Ngannou, but that Stipe fight probably hurt him.
The Stipe fight and the Lewis fight.
Yeah, and Lewis, yeah, that definitely hurt him. So yeah, probably DC Stipe.
Like, yeah, I feel like we're a little in the JDS territory where we are in the Aldo territory where like there's a large enough amount of the audience that just expects him to lose every time out, to the point where like, oh, okay, are we really gonna run this guy in the pay-per-view? You know what I mean?
Right.
The sense I got after the Tai Tuivasa fight was like, oh, JDS actually managed to win a fight, much less than, oh, JDS is still really, really good and has something for the champion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
How many questions?
He has three, but one is about Jermaine Geronimi versus Yana Kunitskaya, and the other one's about well, I guess we can get to this one before we get to the rest of the card.
Well, I was gonna say we could save his because I'm gonna be honest with these prelims. It's not a lot of substance,
Right.
so I feel like we could probably get through those kind of.
All right, we'll save
Yeah,
it for now.
we'll save his to the end. But yeah, Junior Dos Santos beat Derek Lewis. That was via TKO second round. So congrats to JDS. But you know, always looking forward to a Lewis fight. So definitely want to see him bounce back. But JDS is like my all-time favorite heavyweight. So I'm glad I'm enjoying this little mini. I don't know if we want to call it a resurgence, but whatever it is, I like it. I want to see more of it. So congrats to JDS. Moving on to the co-main event. I was kind of disappointed when I read the result of this fight. Not because I was mad that Dos Santos won. I wanted to see this fight last longer, but you know, guess when you're Zaleski, you're good. So you don't have to drag things out.
I mean,
co-main
I'm
event.
upset. I wanted crazy kickboxing.
Yeah, I did too. When I we ain't get none of that. But co-main event, Zaleski Dos Santos, Curtis Millender. I was really excited for this fight. One, because I mean we've been praising Zaleski on this podcast. Like he's one of those guys in that like that pack of welterweights who's just, you know, racking up wins, guys trying to make names for themselves. And he's one of the guys who's, you know, seems like he's separating himself from the pack. So we're just ready to see if he can make that next leap. And Millender, like his UFC run has gone a lot better than I thought it would, and I've really enjoyed watching it. And just these two style-wise, like you said, this was making perfect for a nice, fun, violent, you know, kickboxing matchup. But Zaleski had other plans. I mean, they stood for a little bit. Millender did press forward, which I like because sometimes I feel like he is a bit lackadaisical sometimes, but he pressed forward a lot in this fight. Couple leg kicks, couple body kicks got thrown, and then Millender leaps in for a hook, gets taken down, and it's pretty much over from there. From that point, it's more so Zaleski just, you know, just working on the ground, trying to get dominant positions, and we've seen that that is one of the weaknesses in Millender's game. He's not the best on the ground. He had a moment where he was able to get Zaleski off him for like a brief moment, and Zaleski jumped right back on his back. It just didn't really let him breathe, didn't give him an opportunity, and it was just Zaleski working until he got a rear naked choke, basically.
Yep.
Yeah, so not the violence that I think we wanted violence. We could have got violence.
We wanted capoeira, like jump spinning dance kicks. And instead we got, Elijah Zaleski Dos Santos actually is pretty smart and will just take the easy win.
Right. And I mean, good on him, smart on his part, but you know, I wanted my Tekken fight.
Yeah, like we don't care how well you do. We want blood and spins.
Yeah. Right.
But like dude's now 7-1 in the UFC. His only loss is a split decision to Nicholas Dolby. Like, he's got 4 finishes. He's got a fight of the night to his name. Like, I don't know what else he has to do to get a top 10 fight.
Yeah, at this point, it's like, all right, guys, like, and it's not like the top of welterweight. I mean, they're good fighters, but you know, it's a little old, a little bit.
It's not even that. It's just like they're boring.
Yeah, and I mean, if we're being honest, like the top of the welterweight, and I'm not, you know, trying to diss anybody, especially not Usman. Like we saw, like, because Usman was kind of in, at one point, I feel like in the Zaleski realm, like he was a guy who was kind of clawing his way to the top, and we wanted to see him make that next leap.
Right.
And then he made it, and you know, he dominated. So let's move these guys up. Like, let's stop. You know, it's not like there's such a log jam at the top that these guys can't get fights. Like,
Right, like
it's not like lightweight. Like, these guys should be able to be facing some bigger names, and we shouldn't have to relegate them to be fighting each other. Like, there should be space for Zaleski to fight a top 15, a top 10, and it shouldn't be much of an issue. But yeah, like you said, after this fight, I don't know what else the man has to do. I'm not pegging the dude as like a world champ. I just want him to get the opportunity.
Right.
Like I just let me see it. Let me see if he can.
Let me see him fight Pons. That's
right.
what I want.
Like if you guys want blood, this is a man who can give you. He can give you blood. He can give you that. So let the man show what he can do. But yeah, he made quick work of Melender. This fight did not did not go very long. So it didn't give us really a ton to dissect, other than Zaleski continues to impress. And,
He's getting smarter.
Yeah. Because this easily could have been a kickboxing fight, 3-round, just bloodfest, but he said
he's
no.
like, nope. I'm going to go home, collect this check, try again UFC 237 maybe, I don't know.
Right. Because he virtually took no damage.
Oh, yeah, like, dude could literally run back out next weekend, like.
Yeah, and just fight again, so. But, yeah, congrats to Zaleski, man. Dude just continues to impress, so hopefully he can get a big fight. He deserves it. But we'll see. But he won via rear naked choke submission in the first
Melender, go, like, dude, go work. Just go train for, like, a Naga tournament or something, you know? Just, like, put in, like, a few months of work and go fight in the advanced division or something, because, like, he's too talented not to be a complete fighter. You feel me?
Yeah. Because Melender with a ground game or even just, like, some great takedown defense, he'd be a scary guy.
Like, that's the thing. His takedown defense isn't bad. It's just there are moments in the fight where he just gets complacent, overly aggressive. Like, he thinks, okay, we're in the kickboxing match, so we're going to just kickbox so I can stop being cautious. And then he gets taken down.
Yeah. I think he thought what we thought.
Yeah.
Like, this fight was going to be
blood.
blood.
Yeah, I finally had somebody's going to stand with me. I don't got to train no wrestling. And then
Zaleski was like, nah, bro.
He's like, nah, man. I'm trying to keep my face pretty.
Yeah. So that was that fight. Moving on down the card to a fight that was pretty violent. It only lasted a round, but this this was a pretty violent outing. Nico Price and Tim Means. So this fight out the gate from jump. We're throwing hands. We're not wasting time. Nico comes out. He's throwing hands. They're both exchanging. Means gets rocked. His flurries all over the place. It was fun. He caught Means, I think, with a couple knees. And then Means, you know, being the vet that he is, he's like, all right, this isn't going too well on the feet. I'm getting tagged a little too much. Let's take this down. Takes Nico Price down, gets on top, gets some good ground and pound off. But eventually, I can't remember how the sequence went, but eventually they found their way back to their feet. And it was weird because Nico starts off with this vicious flurry. Then he gets taken down. You know, they spend some time on the ground. He catch some ground and pound, whatever. And, like, when the fight got back to the feet, it seemed like everything slowed down. Like, Nico had, like, a little mini, like, adrenaline dump because the fight slowed down.
Even the punch he landed at the end, like, it looked really labored. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it looked like Nico, like, emptied out the tank too early, and it was like, oh man, that might have been all, because Means just started. He was just unloading combinations. He was hand fighting and just popping the jab out. He was catching Nico just with a lot, and it just looked like, oh boy, Nico, that might not have been a good idea. Maybe you just emptied too much of the tank, because Means was getting off.
That was the best that Means has, like, that 3 minutes between, like, the takedown and, like, the knockout was the best that Tim Means has ever looked.
Yeah, he was really, and Means has always been a good striker, but he just looked, it was so just pinpoint, man. He was really placing his shots well. He was snapping Nico's head back. It was looking bad. And then out of nowhere, man, just the fight ain't over till it's over.
Yeah, it's really not.
Nico uncorks a right hand, and I didn't see this until, like a couple replays later, but like so Nico catches Means out of nowhere with his right hand that drops him, but Means' ankle
Snap.
did like an exorcist twist. Yeah, it was. Ugh. So on top of eating the right hand, his ankle just completely twists in a direction that ankle should not twist in, and then he proceeds to eat ground and pound on top of that, and the fight's over. I didn't follow up. I hope Means is good because that was not a good, like, oof. Those are just the worst. I hate seeing those kind of injuries. Like, they just. Ugh.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a lot like the Bader Teixeira knockout, where it's just like you can't, like, if the guy hits that hard, you can't be in that space. Like, you have to be all the way in or all the way out. Like, you can't just like try to go into the pocket and like spam punches on him because he will crack you. That's what happened to Means. Yeah, I'm still not sure how good Nico Price actually is. Like half the stuff he does is just ridiculous, and it's coming at moments where he's losing. Like, remember what he did to Randy Brown?
The greatest KO.
Where he just hooks his head from the guard and just proceeds to pound him until Randy Brown goes unconscious.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Nico. I feel like Nico is gonna be. I don't know. I think he'll be one of those guys who just always just kind of sticks around. I don't know how high he'll really go, but like he'll just always kind of be there. And then like I don't know, maybe he's that guy eventually who like, I don't know, you got a prospect. He has to fight Nico along the way. That's, I don't know. Maybe
he has to prove he's
guys.
smart enough not to get knocked out by Nico Price.
Right, because like Nico's not like. He's not like super flashy. Like there's not really anything you look at his game and you're like, that's super amazing.
Well, he's like a freaking A+ athlete. If we're being real.
Yeah, like he's an athlete and dude can crack. Like, so like you gotta respect the game. Like he can catch you and it can be over really quick. And any man who does what he did to Randy Brown, any man who gets a KO like that, you gotta respect the game. Because I can't think of many KOs I've seen where a dude just, yeah, I've never seen that. So yeah, like I said, I don't really know how great Nico is, but dude is good. He's pretty solid, and it only took one.
Like Dr. Grayson, over on Tumblr, I think put it best. He's kind of like he's like a bootleg Richard Brian Ortega. Brian Ortega is actually like good at things, and they're not things that win rounds, but they're things that lead to the end of the fight. But he's just winning. He's losing till he doesn't. He's not anymore. Like
right.
That's basically it.
Yeah. So poor Means. Yeah, everything's going good
Until it's not.
Till it's not. But I hope that ankle's good because that was not cool. Like I said, you hate to see stuff like that. So hopefully it's not too serious. But boy, that looked nasty.
Yeah.
But nah, man, Nico, he came back. Like I said, it was not looking good for him in the second half of that round. He was getting pieced up, and he came back and ended it. So that was Nico Price, won by KO with only 10 seconds left in the round to go. So that was Nico Price versus Tim Means. Moving on to a heavyweight affair. Got former WSOF heavyweight champ Blagoy Ivanov taking on Mr. Awkward Ben Rothwell.
Ben coming off like a 3-year layoff because of a suspension, I think.
Yeah. But I was oddly entertained by this fight.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Like Rothwell is, if you've seen a Rothwell fight, like he's just really weird. Like he's just weird. But it works for him though. Like it's weird, but it works for him. And I don't know. I was interested to see how this fight was gonna play out. I thought Rothwell did a really good job of like that awkward pressure. he like awkwardly marches Blagoy down, It doesn't look, like I said, his whole stance is just weird.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know what his coaches thought when he first walked into the gym. And like,
I mean, it's one of those things that can only exist at like heavyweight, Like he is big, he is tough, and he's awkward. Like he has some really decent like pressuring footwork. It's not bad. It's not great, but like it keeps guys in front of him, and eventually they wear down, and he doesn't.
Yeah. And he keeps a pretty decent pace. But he might not look like he doesn't, he's not like super shredded or anything like that. He looks like your standard, I don't know. I work in a warehouse.
Yeah, like, he's a dude who is literally just I can fight hard for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's enough to win fights at heavyweight.
Yeah, because in that first round, he did really good. He pressured Blagoy. Avenal spent a lot of that first round kind of circling with his back against the cage, and Rothwell just kind of marching him down. Rothwell does good as awkwardly as it looks. He switches stances a lot, and his straights were landing pretty good. I thought Blagoy did a better job in probably like the second and third round. Well, for one, he got a bit more offensive because I felt like that first round I just feel like he didn't do a whole bunch. And the second round, he was a bit more active, and I felt like while he circled in the second and third, I think he spent more time like he wasn't so much circling with his back against the cage. I thought he did a better job of circling while not like he was circling and still staying in striking distance and being active. Instead of just I'm circling because this big guy is just marching me in my face and I need to get away. Like he did a better job of being active. They both were landing good shots. It's weird to say because Blagoy I feel like Rothwell landed cleaner. To me, he did. Blagoy's a lot of his shots were just these overhand combinations he was throwing that were just kind of wild, even though he was landing some of them. Did you think Blagoy won? I thought this was really close.
I thought it just came down to how you scored the first round. I don't remember what round I gave Rothwell, but like there was a third. I gave Blagoy the second, and I didn't remember enough of the first round I didn't make a point to score it, I should say. So, like, I'm not mad at the decision. Like, I get why people thought Rothwell won, or believe Rothwell should have won, but like, I'm not upset over it.
Yeah, it was
fine.
It was what it was. Like I said, but Blagoy did a better job in those second and third rounds. I think of just being more active. He did start throwing and landing more, and I think even the stats showed. I can't remember. I think they were pretty even, or at least close with the strikes that were landed.
The second round they were even, and then the third round Rothwell won, and then or landed more, and then the first round was like not dead even, but like the difference was like 1 or 2 punches.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a close competitive heavyweight fight. Nobody landed anything super crazy, but I mean for Rothwell, even though he did lose, Blagoy ended up winning across the board 29-28 for a unanimous decision. But for Rothwell, I would say coming off of that long of a layoff, he looked pretty good. Albeit you didn't get you didn't get the win obviously, but
right.
I think you should feel good about your coaches should look at you like we're still working with something like that. That was a solid enough performance that I feel confident in.
He looked like
whatever
he always
your next
looked.
fight is.
So that's a good thing because he's been gone for Lord knows how long.
Yeah, and he awkwardly asked Blagoy to kick him in his nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the most Ben Rothwell thing that only he can do. But like I said, man, for heavyweight fights, if I'm just mildly entertained, I'm happy. So I found that fight oddly entertaining just because of the style matchup. So, but shout out to Blagoy, he won unanimous decision. Next fight, moving on down the ladder, we have Beneil Dariush and Drew Dober. This fight was kind of funny because Dober, like crazy athletic, just really explosive, really fast. Dariush, to me, sometimes just looks like he's out there just kind of I don't know, has this very like stoic look about him to me. Like he's never really in a rush. And when they were on the feet, it felt like Dober was just so much faster, so much quicker.
Yeah, like you could see the lackadaisicalness, I guess.
Yeah, of
Darius
Darius.
is
Like
really passive.
clearly one of these guys is an athlete, and the other guy is just he's good, but he ain't there. But as we say, fights are never over until they're over. Athletic prowess isn't everything. As good as Dober did look on the feet, just like I said, good kickboxing, just faster to the punch, more explosive. When Darius was finally able to get this fight to the ground, you clearly saw that was his world. That's where he flourishes, and all that that athletic prowess, all that explosiveness is kind of just nullified. Darius gets him on the ground. I don't remember the exact transition of how it all happened. All I remember is I think he was going for an arm bar, and then he switched it to the triangle. No. Is that what happened? I feel like he switched to the triangle from something. I can't remember though. But I remember like he had his elbow bent for a while, and like I thought Dober was gonna pull away, but like Darius just didn't let go, and then his elbow bent in ways that elbow shouldn't go.
Right.
And that's how you overcome someone who's a bit more athletic.
Yeah. Like, like, did you ever think that, like, one, I wasn't looking at the screen when it happened, so, like, all I hear is Drew Dober submits.
Oh, yeah.
Submits Beneil Dariush.
Dariush via
By submission. I'm like, what?
And
there are multiple levels in which that sentence does not work. So then I look up and it's like, oh no, wait, Beneil Dariush won. What the hell just happened?
Oh yeah, I haven't ragged on Anik in a while, but that was
bad.
Yeah, that was bad.
Props to Drew Dober, because like this is a dude who, like, I don't think anybody really had any like expectations of him being like really good. But he's turned into like a really competent lightweight. Like he's out here fighting, like hurting Beneil Dariush on the feet multiple times in the first round. He's just not gonna. I'm not sold on him ever being a contender or like a top 15 dude, but like he is a skilled lightweight in a tough fight for most people. And shouts to Beneil Dariush, who just persevered, like easily could have, given up in that first round, or not given up, but faded.
Yeah, I mean, he was trying to throw back because they did have a few exchanges, but it's just in the exchanges you saw like Dariush's striking just kind of isn't as crisp or as clean as Dober's was.
Which is crazy because it's the same dude who knocked out James Vick.
Well,
which I guess isn't saying as much as.
Yeah, I was gonna say James Vick is taking some tumbles.
Yeah, no, but like, James Vick is still the same dude who fucking beat Joe Duffy.
Like Dariush is, he can hit hard. It's not the cleanest.
Yeah, and it's not the cleanest like combination kickboxing. It's very much a aggressive / power game that he does, and it works sometimes. Like it worked early against Edson Barboza, but you put yourself at risk sometimes,
But good on Dariush, man. It pays to be a complete fighter. Yep. You're losing in one area, you gain success in another. So, but no, yeah, really, it was a good showing for Dober until it wasn't. That's kind of the theme for the night. But yeah, man, Dariush went out there. He got the triangle armbar in the second round. But it was a pretty fun, competitive fight. But Dariush took it to his world and he flourished. Yep. So that was Dariush versus Dober. Dariush won via triangle armbar. And the last fight rounding out the main card, Omari Akhmedov versus Tim Bosch, the OG Tough Dad. I'm not going to lie to you guys. all I had for this fight was like it was just kind of a fight that just like happened. Um, it was a tough dad fight in which Omari was just a little quicker, a little more athletic, landed more. I think at one point I looked up in the second round and Tim Bosch's nose was bloody.
Yeah, like they were talking on commentary that Tim Bosch was considering retirement, and this very much looked like I'm emotionally done with this type of fight.
Yeah.
Akhmedov just did a really good job of just not letting Tim Bosch into the clinch. Just refused to even like. Just did a great job of circling out. Did a good job of just keeping the combination short, which I guess is like one of his specialties. Like just so he doesn't plant his feet and allow for Bosch to really close that distance by eating a couple shots. Yeah, like I like Joey made this point, and I agree with him. Like I would not have sent Tim Bosch out there for a third round. I would have just been like, "No, you're done." Like he was just like you could tell by the look on his face, he was just emotionally spent. Yeah. It sucks because like Tim Bosch is like our prototypical or exemplary or whatever tough dad, and he's been holding down the title of best middleweight for a while now because of that, but.
Yeah, there would be no barbecue fight league idea without
Tim Bosch is the basis for
he was
idea.
The prototype.
Yes.
Yeah, he was the prototype.
I don't know. Like you feel bad because like you always feel bad when a fighter just goes out there. You could just tell their heart's not in it anymore.
Yeah, and it's especially like we've seen Tim Bosch like have some good moments. He gave us like the legendary comeback of Okami, and then but Father Time, man.
Yeah.
Father Time and just I guess the weight of the sport. It catches all of us. Well, I say us like I'm not fighting, but
catches everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, it catches you, man, and. I don't know. Yeah, I haven't heard him made a retirement announcement, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do get one. But it's like I guess it just kind of is what it is. But like you said, props to Akhmedov. He went out there and just handled business. For the better part of 3 rounds. So he won via unanimous decision. He got 30-27s all across the board. So congrats to Akhmedov for his win, and that was rounding out the main card portion. So I'm not going to lie to you guys, this ESPN Plus portion of the card, I watched all of this morning. My memory was a bit hazy. I also was running off of 4 hours of sleep. So some of these fights I kind of saw weaving in and out of consciousness while my body was trying to make me take a nap.
I feel like we say that a lot.
I mean, I mean, for you guys that don't know, we might be able to figure this out, but obviously, fights happen on Saturday nights, and most of the time we record Sunday morning, which means we have to wake up, rewatch the fights if we're able to, and then record sometime between like 9 and 12.
At least that's when we start, because it's almost 2 now.
Right. But, so it's a lot to try to just wake up early on a Sunday morning and just try to knock this all out. On top of, living your life. Like I said, I went out Saturday night, so I had a limited window that I had to watch this and then try to, remember everything. But, so there are a couple of prelim fights that I did skip, but from what I remember, I'll try to get through. But like I said, to be honest, and not to down anybody, there wasn't, a ton of substance on the prelims, but we'll give people their props as they are due. So, headlining the ESPN Plus portion of the prelim cards, we had Anthony Rocco Martin versus Sergio Moraes. I feel like not a ton really happened in this match.
It was just a really smart performance from Tony Martin, who realized early, I can just keep kicking Sergio Moraes in his lead leg, and he can do nothing to stop me.
Yeah, kick, jab. Moraes will get frustrated, but he won't really do anything.
I don't know why he waited to the end of the round to go for takedowns. he shot and got to Rocco Martin's back in like the second round, like at the 10-second mark. Like if he had done that like 2 minutes earlier, he would have got his back. And probably got a submission.
Yeah. But you know, if it was the fifth, you know how the saying goes.
I don't.
Oh,
I don't know that one.
If was the fifth, we'd all be drunk.
No.
My stepbrother used to tell
That
me.
sounds like a Maryland thing.
Oh no, he's from Texas. He used to tell me that all the time. But yeah, so Anthony Rocco Martin won via unanimous decision. Not really a ton to talk about, to be honest. The fight, there wasn't like anything really. There weren't really any wow moments, to be honest. So yeah, that fight kind of was what it was. Moving down, bantamweight in the women's, we got Yana Kunitskaya versus Marion Renaud. I thought it was a pretty entertaining fight. Boy, did Yana Kunitskaya pay in the third round, but we'll get to that.
What's the women's bantamweight and just like the winner getting their ass beat in the third round?
But yeah, the story of this fight was for the first 2 rounds, like Kunitskaya just being the larger woman, taller. I'm assuming she definitely had a reach advantage, and she was just kind of able to keep Renaud at bay.
I have to point out she's also like 13 years younger than Renaud.
Yeah, Renaud's
she's like 41, 42.
Yeah, and still like looks good. Like it's still, a lot of 41-year-olds be out here looking real.
Especially ones that fight.
Right. Some of them not looking, and they're not moving too good out in these MMA streets. They look every bit of 40, whatever. But Renaud still, like, if you wouldn't have told me her age, I wouldn't think like, oh, she's 40 something, because she doesn't move like it. But for the first 2 rounds, like Kunitskaya did a good job of just being able to keep Renaud at bay, utilizing kicks, utilizing the jab, and Renaud it seemed like she was just having trouble just trying to find range, trying to get her footing in. Like she was just trying to like blitz in, or just I'm gonna leap in with this and try to catch you, and it wasn't really going her way the first 2 rounds. And then boy, in that third round, I don't know what happened. It just clicked. She's able to get in.
I think she realized that Kunitskaya just wasn't going to hurt her, no matter what she did. So she was just like, "F it, I'm gonna just go for it."
Yeah. And she went full blown. And I like that, man. I always give fighters props that when they're losing the first 2 rounds and they just go for broke in the third.
Yeah.
And she went for broke and she busted Kunitskaya. That her nose shifted.
Dude, like the entirety of like her chin and jaw was just all red from the blood that was coming out of her face.
Yeah, it was. Renaud went off that third. She was able to close distance. She was leaping in. She just went for it, and she tagged Kunitskaya a bunch of times. Shifted the nose over, but it was a little one of them cases of too little, too late.
Yeah, go for the finish in that spot, man.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, if she would have, it's almost like if Renaud just would have put her foot on the gas a little more in one of those earlier rounds, she probably could have, she could have stole that fight. Because, like I said, Kunitskaya was landing good shots, but it's not like she was like, super devastating, fight ending.
I think a big part of it is just Renaud, like she fights a little bit to her opponent's like rhythm. So early on, before Kunitskaya was really landing with like the range attacks, she was just bullying her into the fence. So she's like, okay, if I try to attack, we're gonna tie up, and she's just gonna push me into the fence, and I don't want that. So I'm gonna just sit at the end of her punches and wait to counter. And then the third round came around, and she realized she was down, and she just went ham.
Yeah. She had a good third round, but Kunitskaya ultimately won across the board for a unanimous decision. I saw a video this morning of Kunitskaya in the hospital with Ray Sefo getting touched up.
Can we talk about that? Just the president of PFL was just in her corner. Can you imagine if like Scott Coker was just cornering Chris Cyborg?
Right. You see Sepho all in the camera smiling like, "So what are you doing, Ray? Go put together that tournament. Yeah, you got an ESPN meeting to go to." But but it could look like kind of Kuna Sky is fine. Nose busted up, but she'll be all right. She got Ray there, I guess. Whatever that's worth. But no, solid performance from Kunitskaya. Like I said, just good use of utilizing her range, using the tools that she has, because at bantamweight, I imagine she's gonna have a size advantage over a lot of
what is she, like
fighters.
5'10", something like that?
Yeah, she's pretty big. So, and we see a lot of fighters who have range and don't really know how to use it. She's at least competent in that, so she'll seemingly always have that advantage. So good on her. But props to Renault. Like I said, I always enjoy a fighter who, when you're down the first two, you just go for it in the third. But too little, too late. But it was a pretty entertaining fight. So I enjoyed that. But props to Kunitskaya. She won a unanimous decision. Going down to this next fight, which I will depend on your insight because I did not see this fight at all. Grant Dawson versus Julian Erosa.
Shit. So Grant Dawson and Julia Rosa are both dudes who look like they should be at lightweight because they're really big. Excuse me 1 second.
All right. Well, I'll just let the fans know while he's.
Oh no, I was just sneezing.
Oh.
Yeah, I feel bad. I keep sneezing to the microphone, and like some poor person is listening to this through their headphones, and all of a sudden they hear me sneeze really loud. Anyway, Grant Dawson, UFC debut. I think he was the dude who was coming off of like a USADA suspension or something. Like something crazy like that held up his USA debut. Really worked for them takedowns. Like, I think Joey's comparison was like he's a Darren Elkins type, a slightly more athletic Darren Elkins type. I think that's fair. Just repeatedly got Erosa down, got on top of him, beat him up a little bit. Other than that, not a whole lot to report. Like he has really robotic striking that I think is at least in part due to the fact that he is probably a lightweight. Like that stiffness that comes with having to cut weight.
Right.
He seems like a competent enough prospect. I think he's like 23 years old. Could be wrong about that. But yeah, no, it was fine. Like, I don't have a whole lot to report about it. It wasn't like, this was not Zabit Magomed Sharapov's first fight in the UFC. It was just a competent dude coming in off a dude who's probably like a AAA fighter. Like a Rosa is like Tyrion Ware in that he is too good to not be in the UFC, but he's probably not good enough to be in the UFC. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Judging by these scorecards, because it was 30-26, 30-27.
And 29-27.
29-27. So somebody was watching a different fight.
No, it's just like somebody gave. Wait, did somebody score 9-9 or?
That's what I'm like. How did he? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. How did they go 29-27?
I don't know.
But either way, judging by the scorecards, it like Grant did.
Yeah, it was a fine UFC debut. It was a workman-like performance.
So shout out to Grant Dawson. He won a unanimous decision. Moving on down, back to the heavyweights. We have Maurice Green versus Jeff Hughes.
This one I do not remember.
This was Jeff Green being very tall at 6'7". It was actually a pretty good fight.
Green?
Yeah, Maurice Green.
You call him Jeff Green.
Oh, my bad. Maurice Green. Shout out to the heavyweights. All the heavyweight fights on this card were actually fun.
All I know about Maurice Green is that he's a fellow knitter or crocheter or whatever, yarn enthusiast, so he has my support. That he used to be a glory fighter.
Yeah, I mean he definitely is a kickboxer. That is definitely his game. I do wish though that at him being 6'7", I don't want him to have the Stephen Struve syndrome. He should definitely pop his jab out more. It's not that he doesn't do it. I just wish he would do it more because they're in the second round, he caught Hughes just literally with a jab and dropped him. Like he just stuck it out there and just dropped him with it. But no, this was a entertaining fight. Like Maurice Green for somebody his size, I think he moves pretty well. I just wish he would use more of, like I said, his tools because he's 6'7". Like you're taller than a lot of these. You're in that tall range where it's like you're like overly big. So I would just like to see him be better like at range. But no, he's definitely a good kickboxer. Like he moves well for a guy his size. But I did think Hughes did a good job in the latter half of the fight. Partly due to Green because he doesn't like fight as tall as he is, I feel like. So Hughes had moments where he was able to get in close, and he clocked Green a couple of good times. This was actually a pretty good. They had a pretty good back and forth. It ended up going to a split decision, and Maurice Green got the nod. I'm not mad at it. It was a pretty competitive fight. I think I did score it for Green, though I don't remember. Kind of like you, I don't remember this fight in a super ton of detail, but I do remember it being pretty entertaining. I like Maurice Green's style. I don't know how far up the ladder he goes. I think he does have flaws in his game. I'm not really sure what his ground game looks like because I don't think this fight really went to the ground like at all. And he doesn't. I don't know. I can't really say because I don't remember. I feel like I've seen him fight before, but I can't recall his fights from memory.
You say he fought in Glory.
Yeah, I know he fought he had a UFC fight. Was he on? Was he on?
I don't know. He fought. Who did he fight in the UFC?
I've seen him. So yeah, I know I've seen one of his.
Yeah,
other
but he's 2-0 in the UFC now. Hold up, let me check this out. He fought Michael Batista at the Tough finale.
Okay.
And he's triangled him.
Cause I want to see just. He's definitely like a hittable guy, so I don't know how far he goes at heavyweight. Cause I felt like he had a pretty big size advantage over Hughes, and for Green, like I think if he would have fought somebody who was just somebody who carried some more weight, who hit a little harder, like some of those shots that Hughes was able to tag him with, if that was somebody who was just a bit bigger, a bit stronger, they might have been able to like really put him into some trouble. But no, like a solid fight for him. So far so good in the UFC. Like I said, you can definitely see that his glory kickboxing does carry over. Just I want to see him just pop that jab out a little more. Just you're 6'7", man. Just stick it out there. But no, competitive fight. Good fight for Jeff Hughes. Also, it was a fun fight back and forth. But Maurice Green ended up getting the split decision. Moving down to bantamweight, we had Matt Schnell versus Louis Smolka. I knew this fight was going to be bad for Smolka about 20 seconds in.
Thank you. I just wanted to get to the mic.
I knew this fight was going to be bad for Smolka about 30 seconds in. When they started exchanging, and I just saw how much, like, faster Schnell was, like, it just seemed like the discrepancy was really weird. Like, Schnell looked really crisp, really fast, and Smolka just kind of looked
slow.
Yeah.
Smolka's never been that athletic. That's what really.
But it was a glaring, like, it was a big gap. It seemed.
Yeah. No, like you said, Smolka's never been athletic, and that's what's killed him at like flyweight. That's why all his flyweight losses are so bad, because the guys he's fighting tend to be like faster. Maybe they're not as strong, but like they're faster. In that way that matters, not so much in like the like with foot speed and like just being able to move their body around. And it's a problem that could have alleviated itself a little bit if Smolka was up at bantamweight fighting actual bantamweights, but Matt Schnell's a flyweight who is pretty athletic and pretty he's pretty quick. And it showed here because boy, Smolka looked like he was moving through water.
Yeah. Snell was getting off like 3 pieces, and Smoker was just he was just out there drowning. Yeah, it was bad. And then the commentary was like praising Smoker's like scrambling ability, and the fight goes to the ground, and Smoker gets triangled.
Yeah. Nice transition from Schnell, who I think had the guillotine, had it broken, and then was able to, while what's his name, Smoker was trying to like brace himself out, was able to get his legs up for the triangle.
Yep. And that was all she wrote. So props to Snell. That was a really good performance. That's a tough one out for Smoker, man. That is
I mean, you feel for the guy because you know he's been fighting with all these like outside the cage problems and stuff. Dude was talking about like he was getting blackout drunk before fights and stuff.
And then just with like we said, man, like with flyweight seemingly being on the way out the door, you just got guys going up to bantamweight basically to just keep a job. Right. And some guys just they're gonna fall through the cracks. Like some guys.
Smoker seems like a dude who could get work other places though. Like did he fight in Ryzen, or am I making that up? Well, he's a dude who could fight in Ryzen, I should say.
Yeah. He can find work elsewhere, but
it still sucks.
Yeah, tough one to drop, but good on Matt Snell, man. That was a really good performance. So definitely shout outs to him. You know, he won be a triangle in the first round. Moving on down, Alex Morono versus Zach Otto. This is like the one fight that I saw in real time, and I saw like the entire fight when it actually happened. All I remember from this fight that stuck out to me was how violent Morono was as soon as this fight went to the ground. Like, the second this fight went to the ground, it was like Morono just got angrier. And he seems like he's already angry, but like...
It's always seeming like he's trying to prove himself.
Yeah.
That's like how he fights.
His walkout, just the look on his face, it just looks like he has a chip on his shoulder. And I mean, well, I guess I get it because the commentary mentioned during this fight that apparently Otto's been like calling him out for a while. Like he's just wanted this fight.
Didn't look like he wanted by the end of it.
Yeah. Morono bought the smoke. Otto kept calling him out. Morono's like, "What do you want?" And then he's like, "All right, whatever, we can do it." And Morono, he went in there and put pause, and fight went to the ground, and Morono just immediately just got really violent, ground and pound, elbows.
Hold up. I'm sorry. This is news to me. News about me. Sorry.
Well, I was gonna say Morono just he abused him.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, no, like great performance from Morono, who's been looking for like a knockout finish. Oh wow. I might be out. My job might be closed tomorrow. Apparently there was a flood in the basement.
Jesus.
I don't remember the last time between the snow and like President's Day. I don't remember the last time I worked a full week.
Oh man.
I'm afraid it's making me complacent and lazy, and when I get back to full weeks, it's just going to be miserable. But I'll take a day off.
Well, as somebody who has Mondays off, I'm gonna tell you, man, it's a great feeling when you wake up and everybody else is like stressing about their day, and you can just kind of like chill. It's a good feeling.
Feel you.
Shout out to everybody who has to work Mondays.
Very hard.
I'm not part of that gang anymore. Right. But nah, man, yeah, the fight went to the ground. Morono got violent, and that was pretty much it.
Dude, like Morono, another one of these dudes in the welterweight who's just really violent. Like, I love it. This division is so much better than like the top 5 dudes who are all kind of like dull.
Yeah, there's this middle. Like I said, within the welterweight, there's a subdivision of violence.
It's like Ponzin. It's like if you go to the rankings, it's like Ponzin Nibio down. You know, like
yeah. It's just guys who are just out here just throwing.
It's like Pud, it's like Means, it's like Price, it's Morono, it's Zaleski dos Santos, Curtis Millender, freaking Max Griffin. Dude, that's another fight. That's a fight I want. Give me Max Griffin versus Alex Morono.
Yeah, just let him have it.
Or what's his name? What's his name? Crap, I had it yesterday. Alex Morono versus
Luque.
Oh, dude, that'd be great too.
Yeah.
Fuck, I didn't even think of that.
There's so many of them.
Wait, this was actually a fight I was really like, oh yeah, I want to see that. Frank Camacho.
Yeah, he's out here.
Dude,
yeah.
Like this division is so good when you get in the middle of it. It's just so much fun.
And Jeff Neal is still out.
Then we have like Kobe Covington, who gets to sit at the top.
Right. Yeah, man. This subdivision of violent weight is fun. It's breathing between this and the little bit of like fresh air we're like getting in 205. It's not all bad, you know. There's some good things going on in this sport.
He's got
so shout out to you violent weight guys.
He's got to look between all the dumb stuff.
Yeah, which can be a lot, but if you're willing to do the legwork, you can find some gems, man. There are.
Like, I think we don't appreciate that. Where like we are in an era where there are more. I want to say there are more quality fights than there ever been before. If for nothing else other than volume. Like 10 years ago, a guy like Alex Morono and what's his name, Max Griffin would be fighting on like a prelim that we wouldn't get to watch.
Right.
Like
now they're on ESPN.
If you are out for so like there's never been a better time for like exceptional violence. Like like if there's anything that feels missing, it's just like a special type of violence. You know what I mean? Like meaningful violence. Like that's harder to come by nowadays because like it feels like everybody's like leveraging. Everybody's always hurt. But like if you're like us and you sit through everything, you know, you get to watch Petr Yan beat the ever living crap out of Douglas Andrade. Like,
and this is why I always tell people, this is kind of I don't want to go too far because I could segue and get angry about this forever. But this is why I always encourage people to like watch other fight promotions.
Exactly.
Because there's so much quality violence out here that you are just depriving yourself of.
And like I get it for people who can't make that like. Dude, like I didn't realize how much of a time commitment it was until I was out of college. Because I like back in those days, I watched everything. Like
right, it's work now.
Yeah, now it's just like between actual work and school and like the little bit of a life I actually do have.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot. Like, dude, the UFC, like, I don't think we appreciate the UFC takes like 8, like up until it moved to ESPN, it took like 8 hours to get through a whole fucking card.
Right.
And that was like on the day like where most of us have like 1 free week, like 2 free days.
Right. Well, I would just say to you guys, like I said, that is true. Like, and MMA has grown so much, and there are so many like more promotions now that like it's impossible, honestly, you can't keep up with everything. I get that, but like, listen, man, like if it's a Friday night and LFA's on, watch LFA. It's guaranteed finish.
Yeah.
Somebody's
if it's a Friday or Saturday night and like you know there's like a local show and you have nothing else to do, like go to the local show. Like
right.
go support regional MMA. Go support like your local kickboxing. Whatever. Like if you're in freaking Allentown, Pennsylvania, there's a kickboxing card there. Like every month. I forgot what they're called, but my friend fought for them once. But like there's always stuff going on and you can always fit it to your schedule if you feel like.
Yeah. And if for nothing else, like the Petr Yans of the world, the Wei Li Zhangs, like I kind of got into it's a minor segue, but somebody had posted on Twitter, I can't remember what fight. I think it was after Woodley had it had something to do with Woodley. But like we were just talking about how like it's still funny in this day and age how people, for whatever reason, stupid MMA fans still think that like if you don't fight in the UFC, then you're not good. Not realizing that all of these guys came from somewhere. Like the UFC has been those days of like homegrown talent. That's been gone. Like all of these prospects you see, your Petr all of them, they came from somewhere. They were established in other organizations before they.
Like like more times than not nowadays. Like it's gonna be so hard to find another Max Holloway who is literally just like in his 5th fight ever, he was in the UFC, and now like 20 fights later, he's UFC champion. Like it's gonna be a lot harder to catch those dudes from now on. And I feel like from now on, a lot of those dudes are just gonna end up like Cody, like Garbrandt, like where they just burn themselves out because they never learned the skills coming up to prolong their career.
Right.
So like, and Jan's hella young in his career, but like he's an experienced, like he's a dude who's been boxing since he was like, well, he's been doing all types of crazy like combat sports since he was like 10 years old or 13 years old or whatever. Like, so like these people with these backgrounds who have like who get a lot of experience really quickly, like Israel Adesanya. Dude has a long kickboxing background, got some MMA experience, like just continually fighting like every couple months for like a couple years, and now he's in the UFC and he just beat Anderson Silva, and now he's fighting for a title. Like that's the future of the sport. Until, and maybe every once in a while you'll find a dude like Max Holloway, who comes in and is able to build a career for himself over like the course of like 20 something fights, but
those will be one in a million.
Yeah, like Max is a special fucking fighter.
Yeah,
like,
you're not gonna see another one of him for under those circumstances for a while.
Basically, you're gonna see guys start to come in, and they are not maybe finished products, but they are. You know what they're gonna be. Like Conor was one of those dudes. Volkanovski was one of those dudes. If we're being honest, like he's definitely gotten better since like he took Mizuto Hirota to like a draw, but like the groundwork for what his game would be was still there. It's just a bunch of sharpening at that point. Like he's not still trying to figure himself out. He knows what he is, and he is just okay. This didn't work, so I'm gonna go back and just like work on pressuring to be a more efficient pressure. He's not working on his actual pressure footwork. He's working on being better at what he's already good at.
All right. So I just say that to say, just if you got a free night scrolling through your cable or on the internet, wherever you consume your content, and you see like a little fight promotion, especially if you got Fight Pass, and you see a promotion that you're not super familiar with, just take a peek.
Yeah.
Like, just take a peek.
And not every,
you don't gotta watch
not every card's gonna have like a future UFC champion, but like you might catch a glimpse of something cool. Like, you wanna know when the first time I ever saw Gennady Golovkin fight? I saw him fight on I was bored one night in college, and like I think there was no UFC, and I was like I have no idea what to do with my Saturday nights when there's no UFC, so like I was on like First Row Sports on the streaming, the
First Row.
I was down there, and I was just like, I wonder what's happening that I could get into real quick because I'm super bored. And then there was a Golovkin fight. He was fighting some dude in like Kazakhstan, and I got to watch him fight.
Shoot, I mean, to be honest, real quick, do we want to dissect this last fight?
Yeah, I mean, good on Alex White. He looks like he's learning how to like do jiu-jitsu. Like actually grapple, and he's looked better at lightweight. Like I'll give him like that. That's really all I have. Like, Justin Dameret for making a fight. He came in hard, got off to a quick start, but was just he lost the grappling exchanges he needed to win.
Okay, that was the last fight of the card. Alex White defeated Dameret via unanimous decision. But Going back to what we were talking about, I was gonna say real quick. I found that the WEC is like one of, I don't know if my all-time favorite promotion. It might be. I don't know.
It is for me.
I found the WEC randomly one night. I was just scrolling through TV. I don't even know. I never watched Channel 2. I don't know what Channel 2 is. I'm scrolling on the TV guide. Channel 2 was the Versus channel. I think that's what it was called. And I see this long, because like when you look at cable, you look at the guide, it shows just the block of time that this event covers. And I see this long block for like 2 hours, and it says World Extreme Cage Fighting. I'm like, I have no idea what this is, but I have nothing else to do with my night, so I'm just going to turn this on and see what happens. Who do I stumble on? Miguel Torres, Jose Aldo, Uriah Faber. I'm now addicted to this channel. Like, that it took one time for me to watch one WEC event. Had no idea, didn't know anybody on the card, didn't know any of the fighters. Lo and behold, I watched all of their cards, and now some years later, the UFC absorbs them, and everybody who I was a fan of came to the UFC and did awesome. Like, well, most of them. Some people didn't pan out.
Poor Miguel Torres.
But, but, like, I just found that whole company just on a whim. Like, I just happened to scroll through a channel and stop, and I saw Jose Aldo killing Uriah Faber. Like, so it just goes to show you, man. Just if you see a fight promotion you're not familiar with, not saying you're gonna find the next Jose Aldo, you might not, but there's other talent out there. There's other quality.
Everybody comes from somewhere.
Yeah, everybody's got to start from somewhere. So don't deprive yourself of violence. So if you got, like I said, if you got Access TV and you're on a Friday night, you ain't doing nothing, you're lame, you're in the house, and it's like 10 o'clock, go watch LFA. You'll see. You're guaranteed to see one of those LFA dudes is gonna end up in the UFC at some point, because most of the champions do. So just go watch other regional fights and things like that. There's stuff out there for all of us. But that was a little side tangent. But I think
it was a better ending than talking about Dan Moret versus Alex White, if we're being honest. Which was a fine fight. It was just not really. Yeah.
Like we said, not a ton of substance in the prelims. But that was UFC Wichita. As a whole, it's kind of hard for me to judge this because I didn't watch this in real time. But I'll say rewatching it, like the main card was pretty fun. But the prelims were kind of, because there were a lot of decisions.
Like there were a lot of similar looking fights.
Yeah.
Which makes for like it feels like you're watching like 1 hour of the same fight as opposed to like 4 different fights.
Right. And even though like the fights were competitive, it just wasn't a ton of. I want to say the fights didn't mean anything, but they didn't.
They are not totally consequential in the way that we want them to be.
Right.
Like I'm sure, like Jeff Hughes is like heartbroken that he lost his UFC debut, or was this his second fight? I think it was his debut. Like I'm sure, like Jeff Hughes is heartbroken, but like at the same time, like every fighter is gonna be heartbroken they lose their UFC debut. Like and like I wasn't a big Jeff Hughes believer before he got there, so.
Yeah, this card kind of was what it was, I guess. But I mean, like if you didn't see it, I would say watch the main card. The main card was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Prelims.
If you got time, go watch Kunitskaya Renault, if only the third round, just because it was really cool.
Yeah, and I would say watch Kunitskaya Renault, watch the Morono fight. I mean, it only lasted a round. If you want to watch Snell move really fast against Smoker, you can watch that. But and maybe check out the Maurice Green fight just because he's a heavyweight and just he's a new face. So maybe give that a peek. But the rest,
is what it is.
Not really. Yeah, it is what it is. And like I said, the main card was dope though. I would say watch the main card. All right, maybe you can skip the Bosch and Akhmedov fight. I don't think that was anything super crazy, but the rest of it I think was pretty entertaining. So you can go back and watch that if you want. It was a cool card. Like it was kind of one of those cards that it was what it was. If nothing else, good an entertaining main event, great win for JDS. And if you're a Zaleski fan, Zaleski continued to impress, and Nico Price, knocked Tim Means out in what was a very violent one-round affair. So there were some highlights on this card, but it wasn't anything like super crazy. It just was what it was. But that was UFC Wichita. So I guess before we close out, let's answer the rest of Joey's questions.
Well, before we get to his questions, he sent me an article about Amazon Prime, and there was a little nugget in there about the UFC. And I was wondering if you were interested in hearing what the Amazon had to say.
Oh boy.
Amazon is tinkering around the edges. Last year, the company inked a deal with the Ultimate Fighting Championship to air pay-per-view fights. There's no discount available for Prime customers, but Prime is still very much in the equation. In the negotiations, Amazon asked the Mixed Martial Arts League if it would consider scheduling more pay-per-view female fights. People with knowledge of the discussion said Amazon told the UFC its internal data indicated that an increase in female matches would appeal to Prime users. The people said, thus offering opportunities to promote Prime before, during, and after matches. The pitch didn't work. The UFC said top-level female fighting is still in its infancy and can't fill out a schedule. But the request underscored Amazon's broader effort.
What?
So what do you make of that?
Hold on, he said the UFC.
So basically, Amazon went to the UFC and was like, "Hey, can you put more women on on these pay-per-view cards? Because our internal data shows that when you do, we basically we see an uptick in interest. Because if you think about it, who are the people who use Amazon Prime? It's a whole bunch of moms, basically. You feel me?
Yeah, I mean,
and then the UFC came back and was like, they can't do that because there's just not enough women on the roster to fill out. Women's mixed martial arts is so much in its infancy that it's not they can't fill out a schedule. Which is, one, you could just always sign more women. Two, you always book them more than once a year.
Yeah, see, I was going to say for the UFC, if you're going to say no, I don't think that was the, that wasn't the way to, because I don't really think that's true.
Nah.
That's, this isn't like when bantamweight first started and there were, 5 people.
I mean, now there's 18 people. But even then, if you just did it with strawweights, there's still...
Strawweight, right, yeah. strawweight has a ton of
and
talent.
flyweight has a bunch of interesting talent. Maybe not I'm going to fight Valentina Shevchenko in the next 12 months and murk her, but we've seen 205ers and heavyweights who probably have no business being on a pay-per-view be on pay-per-views, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, so you can't tell me you can't throw why is Suarez in there somewhere?
Yeah, Tatiana Suarez could open a pay-per-view. Yeah. Friggin', what's her name? Cynthia Calvillo could open a pay-per-view. I don't know. It's just some logic to it.
That's. I could get the UFC saying no based on because I get what Amazon was saying, but I guess, I don't know, maybe it's just the way I'm picturing it in my head. I don't picture the average Amazon shopper, caring about the UFC, I guess.
I think Amazon said that they had, from the internal data they have, that when women fight, Amazon Prime shoppers are more interested than, I guess, your normal MMA fighter. But I think, and I could be totally wrong about this, they are factoring in Ronda Rousey, which is kind of an outlier, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not really
But then again, so is Conor McGregor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know, but if this is the case, it makes me interested in what the UFC's plans are moving forward with their women's divisions.
Yeah, that's crazy. In 2019, you're saying it we're acting like women just started fighting yesterday.
Right.
Stop.
But
yeah, that's
we can get to these Joey questions now.
All right, let's Let's see what Joey's got up to.
Number one. What would you attribute the relatively smooth start of the ESPN UFC deal compared to the Fox UFC deal? Right out the box, I think ESPN, like, one, the UFC is not a priority in the same way it was for Fox. Like, Fox milked the UFC for everything they were worth. Like, a thing that helps is that ESPN is not, well, no, like, they are in, they have other things, like, they have other things going on that Fox Sports doesn't have all year round. Like, maybe Fox Sports has, like, NASCAR or, like, playoff baseball, but, like, right now, they are doing, like, college football, like, not college football, but college basketball. Like, they that's a thing. That's a big thing for them. That's a thing that gets, like, 2 million people to tune in every Saturday and night. And they're currently doing, like, I've been watching in the background here ESPN2, the Louisville game, Louisville Notre Dame game, like, and right now they have the SEC tournament final between Arkansas and Mississippi State. Like, these are big deals. People tune in for these, and the UFC's probably getting put on the would probably get put on the back burner. Like, they didn't. Who were they airing last night? Was it a college basketball game or was it an NBA game?
No, I think Duke and was it Duke and UNC?
That was last night, but it was at 6. Like, so it was over by 8. But I don't know the game. The game after that was a college game. I remember now. I don't remember what the teams were, but I think it was like Memphis and Tulsa. Point being, like ESPN has deals with other companies that, like, draw ratings.
Right.
And they as a result, we're not gonna get a UFC card at ESPN where we have to sit there from like 5 o'clock to like 1 o'clock in the morning because they just don't have the time schedule for it. They have other things to fill in. They have their own stuff going on, like the 30 for 30 series and stuff like that. Like they have commitments. Another thing is, I think they're just used to, like, sports broadcasting.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it just goes smooth because ESPN just knows what they're doing. Like, like, there's a reason they've been, like, the number one most recognized sports brand. Like, they've just been doing this for so long. And I mean, albeit, like, MMA is like a new like, I guess, like, venture for them, I guess you would say, but it's still a sport. Like, they
understand that, like, okay, we might have, like, people are happier with the event when they run quicker.
Right.
Like, they're not, like, I don't remember the reasoning, but there was a line that Fox really wanted the overrun to go past midnight because I think it brings up their Sunday ratings. Like, ESPN doesn't give a damn about that. They need like between, like, Sunday football coverage and, like, all that other good stuff they have going on. Like, they don't need the UFC to do an overrun at 1 o'clock in the morning. Like, they can get the card over by 12 and still be content with, like, what it does. And like you said, like, ESPN knows what to do. Like, they know how to keep people happy and engaged with with the content they have on their screen.
Right. I mean, and let's be honest, as much as we all love MMA, compared to
college basketball,
college football, these other sports that they run are so much bigger. Like, MMA is like a blip on the radar. Like, this is probably light work for them to handle.
The Notre Dame championship game for college women's basketball last year drew more people than any MMA fight that didn't involve Kimbo Slice or was the main event of the first Fox card. You know what I mean? It got like 2.5 to 3 million people to tune in.
Yeah.
Like, and that's college women's basketball, where, like, I'm the only person who cares about it.
And I just think, for when it goes smooth, because ESPN is just a recognizable brand. But I said this before, having everything in a centralized location makes it so much easier.
Right.
Like, you know it's going to be on ESPN or ESPN Plus. I'm not traveling to Fox Fox Sports 1, 2, Fox Sports.
Fuel.
I don't know. Yeah, like Fuel, FX, all these other places. I know when I want to watch my fights, I'm going to ESPN.
And it's
either
ESPN 2 or ESPN Plus. Like, it's simple.
Yeah.
Basically.
You're right. It's easy to follow. The casual. This is it's centralized now to where the average person can follow this.
And even when they have things, we're like, okay, we have to start the card on ESPN 2 because the basketball game is running late. Like, that's right. One, like, most times, I'm not sure if it's, like, down there, but, like, it's one channel over, and people know where ESPN 2 is.
Right. So, it made sense. It made sense. I would have been more surprised had this not worked out, and it just been a disaster.
Like, the only way it could have been a disaster if they did what they did with boxing and let Stephen A. Smith just hop on the fucking microphone. Well, apparently they're letting the UFC, like, I think they get to choose, like, who gets to do commentary, but so far they've stuck with, like, MMA guys, like Chael Sonnen and Gilbert Melendez.
So good on them. Yeah, like I said, it's ESPN knows what's going on. So I trust this deal. This will be the best. Barring a catastrophe, this will probably be one of the best things that has ever happened.
And one last thing, they got to see Fox fuck it up for like 7 years.
All right.
there was definitely a programmer or a producer at ESPN who went through like all the tweets from East Coast fans being like, I don't want to stay up till 1:30 in the morning to watch a fight. Like, let me get out of here real quick.
So they saw quickly what.
Yeah, like, and if we're being real, Fox was the first channel to cover like an actual sport, where like they have pre and post fights, and they have like the fighter interview. Like, for all intents and purposes, Spike covered it like they covered. I guess like you could call it like TNA. Or Raw. Like it was a TV show before it was a sport. A sporting event.
Right.
So ESPN had a lot of things going for it, from experience to just watching Fox fuck it up for so damn long. Happy it's working, because like I said, it makes such a difference between sitting there for getting things over by like 10 o'clock, 10:30, and then having to sit there till 1 o'clock in the morning when the card starts at 5 o'clock or something. Like,
right. It's made a world of difference, and I love it.
I mean, we've probably been a lot more generous on these cards than if we had sat through them like last year.
Right.
Like, I feel like at the end, like especially in the fall, when we were just going through that slump of cards where, you know, they were just happening and we had no idea, like, why. Like, we were just really done, like, burnt.
Right.
And it reflected. And, like, here, like, you know, we're both tired, but, like, we
it's doable.
it was manageable, and, like, neither one of us is upset that we watched the card last night.
All right. So, yeah, that's why ESPN is that's why it's running smooth.
Yeah. All right, other question. Thoughts on Yana Kunitskaya versus Jermaine Duranami as a potential #1 contender fight at 135 pounds? I don't think they will ever give Jermaine Duranami anywhere near like another title shot, because like
Jermaine is on the blacklist along with Nico Montano. Yeah. And yeah,
like she's unreliable. Like, I don't want to say she's unreliable, but you don't know if she's making a date. She has a full-time job as a cop. She refused to fight Chris Cyborg, which isn't that different from what Nico Montano did by refusing to fight Valentina Shevchenko, except she had a legitimate-ish excuse. I don't think they like JDR enough for that. Like, I think they would feed her to. Well, I don't even know if there's any way to feed her to, but they might run a rematch back with somebody who's already beaten her. You know what I mean? Just to make a point about like that. I don't know. I feel like they're waiting on Juliana Pena to come back, and that's what they're going to give JDR, so they can get her in there with a wrestler who might be able to take her down.
Yeah, and then shoot her out.
Yeah, but like Yana Kunitskaya in a potential #1 contenders match, I mean, she's 2-0, 2-1 in the UFC, but the one is Cyborg, so who really cares about that? I believe she beat Lena Landsberg, and now she beat Marion Renault. Who do you think? Like, because obviously next is Holly Holm, right? Like that's who the UFC wants to match her with.
It's Holly. Pena's in the wing somewhere. Where's Caitlin Vieira? What
She
is she doing?
tore her leg up or something. Like she had a leg injury last year and just hasn't been able to fight since.
I don't know. Maybe that does, because like bantamweight became one of those divisions kind of quick where it's just like the challengers are running thin, and you just kind of gotta pick who you.
Like maybe she fights the winner of Aspen Ladd Eubanks. Because Ladd's next, if she can make weight healthily. Or maybe Caitlin Vieira is closer to getting back than we thought. I hope so. Like,
but yeah, Durandamy, that's.
I think they're going to try to find somebody to beat Durandamy with the quickness, if they ever book her ever again.
Yeah.
And he had one last question that he wanted our picks for Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia.
I'm biased.
Ooh.
I'm picking Spence. Because I need Spence to. I can't have Spence lose until he fights Crawford. So I just have to pick
I'm picking Spence mostly because Garcia's tiny next to him. And I can't imagine that volume and that power will not eventually break him. Or if not break him, like nullify any offense he has going. Like Garcia wasn't able to hurt what's his name? Broner. I don't have any. There's nothing to show me that he has anything to hurt Spence. You know. Yeah. He did. Don't get me wrong. He did a great job boxing Broner the fuck up, but like Broner just got beat by Manny Pacquiao throwing 0 punches or whatever.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm not as knowledgeable in boxing as MMA, but I've been following Spence for a long time. Well, maybe not a long time, but I've been following him for some years now. So I stick with him because I know him, and like it's a fanhood thing. I don't really have a technical breakdown. It's a fanhood thing. I gotta stick with my.
Yeah, Garcia goes out there and does well for himself because like that's the bar he's working with. He does not have to win. He just has to not get destroyed. Yeah,
manhandle. Yeah, go out there and just put on a solid.
Win some rounds. You know, do the damn thing.
So we're all rolling with Spence. So thank you, Joey, for the questions. Rest of you guys, be like Joey. Send in questions.
I think we haven't asked for questions in a minute.
See, I don't like tagging people, but I'm gonna start tagging you guys. I don't like to be that guy, but maybe I'll just start doing that again. But that was pretty much it for today's episode. Next weekend we'll have Till versus Masvidal. That'll be a thing. Bless you. But also on that card, Leon Edwards, Gunnar Nelson, Dominic Reyes coming back against Volkan Oezdemir. Joe Duffy, he'll be back.
Yeah, it's a pretty good card.
It'll be a decent card. There'll be some fisticuffs. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, that is pretty much it for today's episode. So as always, we'll close with parting shots and shout outs. Why did I not keep the Twitter post up? Oh god. So I'm gonna try to search this while I explain the story. It's not really a story. I don't know. Shout outs to alright, so the person who posted this is at Angela A. Gordon 1. I don't know if this was her. Oh yeah, this is her son. All right. Like in social media, man, like you just see a lot of trash, like all day, every day. Everything is just a bad time. It's always just a bunch of foolishness. But every now and then, you get a nice video that just, it makes you feel good. It gives you hope. You realize that there's still good out in the world. So I just wanted to highlight one of those videos that put a smile on my face. So at Angela A. Gordon 1 posted a video of her son Miles, who I guess he entered a contest called the Land's End Mini Meteorologist Contest for 2019. So basically, just the video is I guess her at the table with the kid, and they hand him the envelope. He opens it up, and just like the look on his face when he saw that, like, I guess he won the contest, and there were like, I guess, 4 people who got selected to win, so he was one of the 4. It was just like a really nice. It's just a really quick video. It's not even a minute long. It just put a smile on my face. This little kid really happy to win a meteorologist contest. So I don't know. It made me smile. So I just wanted to share some positive vibes in the midst of all the craziness we see on social media. Go watch a little kid be awesome. We need more of that. I was happy to see that. Just the look of like shock on his face, like, oh, I won, and he was like just super happy. So it made me smile. So if you're on Twitter, you can look up that video. Like I said, it's at Angela A. Gordon 1, and you'll see it. The video has at this point 170 retweets, and like 1,600 likes. The video has 110,000 views. So you'll know it when you come across it. But like I said, it's only like a minute long. But I don't know. I just wanted to share that video. Shout outs to Miles. Go be a meteorologist. And I'm glad you won. That was awesome. I don't have any shout outs or shots. No, shots to Mario Party. I played that yesterday. Trash. It's a good game. It's just, Mario Party, like, people always talk about, like, Mario Kart will piss you off. No, Mario Party will get you livid. Like, it's a good game, though. But it's just, I didn't have a good time yesterday. I came in last place. It was not a good time. But, that's all I got for parting shots and shout outs.
Shout outs to Arkansas's, what's her name? Chelsea Dungy, who is about to pass, like, as we speak, the record for most points in the SEC tournament. She's at 88. The record's like 90. And, she's in the finals today playing Mississippi State. So good luck to her. And shouts to Nick Soriano, who fellow former Bergen Catholic / Penn State and I guess Rucker alum. Well, he's not an alum yet. He's still in college, but he's out here. He just made it to the finals of the big, the big wrestling tournament. It just says big wrestling tournament. The Big Ten wrestling tournament. He's in the finals. He beat some dude who, according to Stoves, got in his face earlier in the year. DeSanto, after he beat him. So, shouts to Nick, making North Jersey proud. That's really it. I'm running on fumes here. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Well, on that note, I need to eat. We can go ahead and bring this to a close. So, as always, man, you guys can check this podcast out on SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play. Follow us on social media at the Dojo Talk Podcast Facebook page, as well as the Instagram page. Follow me on Twitter at Serial Sensei. You can also follow me on Twitch, which I will probably be streaming in about an hour. So check me out on there. Send questions to Dojo Talk Podcast at yahoo.com. And that's it, man. Thank you guys for listening. Please share, retweet, tag a friend if they're an MMA fan or combat sports fan. Send this to them. We can't grow this little dojo operation without you guys. But as always, anytime people are being punched and or kicked in the face, we will be there to talk about it. And until next time, we will catch you guys later.